Good evening, everyone. Welcome, Chiefs Digest fans. I'm sure there's Chiefs Digest fans out there. I'm not just dreaming of it. Welcome to the Tuesday Night Q&A. I am Matt Derrick, here to answer all your questions, hopefully to the best of my abilities. And as we talk about Chiefs football and everything that's going on right now, busy week. Preseason action kicks off on Saturday, 3 o'clock at Arrowhead, with the Chiefs hosting the Los Angeles Rams, who will be bringing none of their starters. Well, they'll probably be at Arrowhead, but they're definitely not going to be taking the field. That's not the way Sean McVay rolls. And since the Chiefs are playing the Rams in the regular season, and since the Chiefs have injury issues of their own, think you're going to see a different Chiefs approach to the preseason on Saturday. I would not be surprised if Andy Reid sat more of his starters than you have ever seen before in a preseason game. And I think it's going to be a lot more vanilla than usual. Probably won't be seeing a lot of tricks. I don't think you're going to see some of the newcomers. So I would be really surprised if the majority of the starters played, even some of the backups. Anybody who's dealing with injuries, I think is going to be out of this one. That's still going to leave you with 60 odd players left to go in this one, and some players that the Chiefs would like to get some extended looks at. This is, all jokes aside, this is going to be a very important game for a lot of Chiefs players. Certainly those guys who are on the back end. This is going to be a great opportunity for some of the undrafted rookie free agents and guys on the third string that don't get as many opportunities. They're going to get some chances in this game, and we'll see what kind of game it's going to be, because it sounds like from the Rams side of things, Ty Simmons is going to play a lot of this game potentially. Maybe if not the majority, then certainly a lot of this game. Get to see that. You're not going to see Patrick Mahomes, so you're going to see Justin Fields, Garrett Nussmeier, probably a little bit of Chris Oladokun as well in this game, and on down. So we'll just get into it. I know there's going to be probably a lot of questions tonight about some of the moves going on. Obviously, the Chiefs are dealing with some injuries. Doesn't look like anything at this point is serious. The only thing I've got a pin in right now is Jimmy Holiday leaving today. I don't think that one's going to be serious, but again, we'll see what comes out of that one. Chiefs still have just some lingering things going on with some of the guys. So even though the medical tent is getting a little bit less crowded, there's still some things going on over there. Chiefs pick up an old friend in Emmanuel Ogbah. He is coming to this team. Probably just for depth. I don't know that Ogbah, Chiefs, as we've been talking about, I've been telling you for a while now, Chiefs aren't looking for anybody to come in and play in front of their rookies and their young players. So the Chiefs are not bringing Emmanuel Ogbah in to play in front of Ashton Gelati or R. Mason Thomas. Probably not even Felix Anudike-Uzomah either. Very possible Emmanuel Ogbah, especially being off the entire off season, coming in here, wouldn't even surprise me if Emmanuel Ogbah ends up on the practice squad. That's just the kind of depth move that the Chiefs, and that's exactly the kind of depth that they're looking for right now. They're not looking for necessarily depth in the top of the middle of the roster. They're looking for it at the edges, and if some injuries start to pile up. So Ogbah's roster position, I think, could certainly change if there are some injuries. Anything else changes down the road, but we'll see what happens. And as always, we'll talk about anything you want to talk about tonight. Lateral right. It is hooray. It is Q&A day. You would see Nick on 41 as the mic if he won the Powerball. But Nick's moved into the new house, so getting all settled in over there. He's still got some moving to do. So, he's not completely out of the woods yet on that one. This is the move that won't end for Nick, but you know what? He's got it all under control. Can't wait till he gets all settled in. Maybe then, especially if I can convince him, I will do an under 1 hour edition of the live stream. Maybe he will come in. But nope, not no Powerball yet for Nick. I beat it pretty well tonight. I think I came in at 7:0. Well, a little later than I thought. 7:04, I guess. Maybe 7:03 was the time. earlier than usual, John. So I'm pretty proud of myself there. First super chat of the night, Blazing Bobby, moving up to the top of the chart here. I haven't been at camp yet when Allen's been active. Is the hype actually real? I hope to see him tomorrow. I haven't had a chance to say hi to you yet at camp yet because I haven't been early yet. I have to be early tomorrow. I did oversleep this morning. It was a late night working last night, and wasn't planning on sleeping in, but that 6:15 alarm went off, and as you long hardcore listeners and viewers know, I am not the world's greatest morning person. I think I have that established reputation. My early arrival at camp is, totally out of character for me, but it's what I do to try and gird myself and to deliver my best performance, challenging the players and everything. So I've had an erratic camp. We're going to just say that. But tomorrow I have to be there by 8 o'clock, so I will be early on Wednesday. So if you're there early, Blaze and Bobby, come on over, and you should see Cyrus Allen on Wednesday. He grew his role as far on Tuesday, with the injury coming back. Now, he did get a little dinged up in a 7-on-7 collision. I think that one, if I remember correctly, was with Christian Fulton. But he got up, he came back in the team period in the next section. So no ill effects from that whatsoever, it looks like. So I think you're going to see him. Unless there's a little soreness or stiffness or anything like that coming off that shin from the collision today, I think you will see Cyrus Allen, and let you be the judge. He made a couple of really nice catches today, really on target with Mahomes. If I remember correctly, I think it was another 100 grab in there too. Had a really good day again on Tuesday. Especially considering that I would still label him a little bit limited. He's not in as many snaps as usual, although I saw him out there with some second team work with Justin Fields, which I thought was a little unusual at this point in camp that he was doing that, but I think they were just trying to get him some work. I believe that was late, and so that may have even been after the collision, and he just wanted to get some reps out there. So I think you're going to see him on Wednesday, but Bobby, I think you'll like what you see. He's a really good receiver. He's not going to blow you away with his speed, not necessarily going to blow you away with athleticism, but he's going to get open. If he gets his hands on the ball, he's going to catch it. He's going to run some really good routes. He's going to, like I said, he's going to get open. So that's half the battle right there. And if you get open, Mahomes is going to find you. So I think you'll be happy. I think you'll be impressed with him, Blazing Bobby. And yep, if you're there early in the morning, feel free to come on over and say hi. We love to talk to you. Anybody else coming up to camp, feel free. I'm always in the media area, so anywhere along the rope line and the fence line and the media tent up there on the hill, feel free to come on over and say hi. Appreciate the super chat, Bobby. That was awesome. Thank you. And once again, if you're out there, we'll see you. And I think you'll be impressed with Cyrus Allen when you get to see him in person. Emerson, when will Trey Smith return? It's a good question because Andy Reid has been very vague on the nature of the injury. Only thing he has said with it is, two key things with it. One, not serious, and two, had a specialist take a look at it with the hip. Was the specialist? Let's face it. I don't think they were talking about having flying somebody in, and they certainly didn't have like Trey Smith fly out to go see a specialist anywhere. Local specialist, I'm sure, is what it was. And he has been there at practice the last couple of days, and in the tent on the side and watching the team. That's pretty indicative of a guy who's usually going to be back very, very soon. Otherwise, he would usually be up in the training complex or somewhere else getting a second opinion or getting some rehab in elsewhere. The fact that he's been at practice is a pretty good sign. Chiefs are also taking advantage of this with him out to get an extended look at Khalil Benson at right guard and Jalen Moore at right tackle. So the Chiefs are taking advantage of Trey Smith not being out there. So I mean, this seems like a case that the Chiefs are going to be pretty cautious with Trey, because they're going to use it to their advantage to be able to get an extended look. And that filters on down because, with Khalil Benson, filling in at right guard. You've got Jalen Moore at right tackle. Ethan Driscoll has moved up to the second team, so now you're getting an extended look at him at right tackle as to play at left tackle on the second team. So there's some spillover as far as how that shuffles out, and getting some other guys some more snaps and getting a look at them as well. So, like I said, it doesn't sound serious. I think there's pretty good chance that maybe you'll see Trey Smith back next week after the preseason game. No reason to really rush him back. So I think like I said, that's only 2 more practices that you're really keeping him out of, and then the game which he would not play on Saturday anyway. So wait and see what happens on Monday. I wouldn't be surprised if that's when Trey Smith is back. Folkestone, your projected starters for Saturday preseason 1 against the Rams. None of the expected starters. I'll just be honest. I'll be very surprised if there's very many expected first team starters to play. We know Mahomes is not going to play. I don't know. I mean, I could see, Andy Reid wanting to get a look at Khalil Benson, maybe even Jalen Moore, and letting him play too. I really don't see the upside of letting anyone else, for the most part, anyone who's got even a slight injury. I don't expect to see Cyrus Allen in this game. I would be stunned if Cyrus Allen plays in this game. Anybody with a slight injury of any sort, anybody who's limited in any way or just has anything extenuating circumstance injury-wise, which I think is how I'd kind of describe Cyrus Allen. But Drew Tranquill, Trey Smith, Xavier Worthy, I would not expect. I don't think you'll probably see Rashee Rice. I don't think he will play. Chris Jones, the Travis Kelce's of the world. I'd be very surprised if you see very many starters. Now, as far as the rookie draft class goes, that's going to vary. I mean, Monsieur Delane not going to play. Peter Woods, I would imagine would. Even though he gets some first team reps, he's a second team guy right now. And I think they want to get all of those rookies. They want to get them some experience and let them, get the shine of starting a game at Arrowhead. I think that's good for them. Let them get that out of their system and all the butterflies and everything. So that wouldn't surprise me if the rest of the rookie class outside of Cyrus Allen and Monsieur Delane, I think everybody else is going to play. You might see some extended work from Garrett Nussmeier. We'll see. We'll hear from Andy Reid on Thursday how he's going to break down the starters and the backups, the rotations. Usually that goes by quarterback. So in this case, the first team, which is probably going to lack a lot of starters, will be working with Justin Fields. And honestly, that's probably going to be mostly the second team that he plays with anyway. Then a third team coming in with Garrett Nussmeier and, probably a lot of holdovers and some of those guys working with Chris Oladokun at the end of the game. I mean, you're going to see a lot of the younger guys and a lot of the bench in this game. That's not a problem to me. I mean, that's a great opportunity for these players to put some film out there. And again, I mean, the Rams are not going to play any of their starters. None are going to be playing in this game. So you're going to have a lot of second team players out there looking to prove themselves, second and third team. I don't want the Rams second and third team players out there trying to prove themselves against my starters if I'm Andy Reid. So I think there's a lot of reasons why he is going to handle this differently. He's kind of signaled to us over the last week or so that he's going to handle this game differently than maybe he's handled preseason games in the past. So my short answer, without going through the entire starting lineup, Folkestone, I don't think you're going to see very many of your first team guys. Kenneth Walker, nope. I have to wait to see that debut. Maybe I'll be surprised on a couple of these, but veterans, first team players at the top. I think this is going to be a game for the younger guys. If there are any starters who engage in this one, it's going to be brief. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if even like a Peter Woods played a quarter or less. There's other players to get that experience. And, like I mentioned, I believe if I hadn't said it, it's worth mentioning that these two teams play in the regular season. The Rams and Sean McVay have a rich history. It's very short, but it's a rich history of not playing starters in the preseason and not showing anything. And Andy Reid plans on duplicating that plan. And I mean, hey, this game might end up being like 9-6. Maybe it's going to be like 38-31. I mean, who knows? It may just be. It's going to go one way or the other. I feel like it's either just going to be an absolute struggle, or it's going to be maybe a just crazy game one way or the other. So we'll see what happens. Folks, don't expect, be very surprised if you see any of the true starters out on the field on Saturday. Blazing Bobby back with another super chat. Truly appreciate that, friend. Can't remember, is this the only preseason game with all 90 on the roster, or did they get rid of at least 2 games with 90? This will be the only. This will be, well, let me rephrase that. All 3 preseason games have everybody on the roster. So, and the Chiefs even have 91 right now with the international exemption for True Godric. So, yeah, all 3 games have everybody. They have done away with the staggered cuts. So they just do one cut down from 90 to 53 after the final preseason game. So, yeah, you will have all everybody available in each of these 3 games, which makes it easier for these teams, like the Rams, who don't play their starters in any of their preseason action. Not having those cuts makes it possible to do that. I do think that the Chiefs will probably play some of their starters at a point during the preseason. But I'd really be surprised if you see much of it on Saturday. It's just the matchup there. I'm Brown, also with the super chat. Appreciate it. Greatly appreciate your attention to detail, dedication, and coverage at training. You're making me blush. I'm the Brown. When do you plan to do something for your channel members? That's where I don't need to blush, because I have not done a great job for the channel members during training camp. I feel very, very bad about that. I've been behind on it big time. I probably could tell a story, but I won't do it yet. I'll do it when we've got maybe some more time to stretch our legs a little bit. I don't want to take any time from talking about the team, and it's mostly just excuses for what I've had going on during training camp. Not quite as busy as Nick, of course, but you're right. I do still have a plan for some stuff for you all. Hoping maybe, I know I've done a very, very terrible job with it during camp, but I do have some things planned up for when the team gets back to Kansas City. So for doing some things, maybe that I can hopefully make it up to you all who are members and everything. Because everybody who's supported me, there's a dedicated group of you that I owe a lot to. So I need to do some more things for all of you. I was hoping to start doing the kind of I was calling them in my head the Chiefs Digest minutes, just some brief updates from camp each day, and I have done a terrible job of getting that up off the ground. So I'm the Brown. I know I owe you some things. So yes, remember, we basically have almost a month of camp left. It's August 11th. The first game's not until September 14th. So even though the team is only in St. Joe for 6 more practices, we got a couple of weeks in Kansas City that are, where they're going to be back home, and that's not as open as training camp is. And none of those practices are open to the public. So hopefully I can take you some behind the scenes and some things going on there better, and get that out for our members first and foremost. So I'm glad appreciate you holding me to it, on the Brown, and appreciate the kind words, but I owe the members more, and I plan on trying to fulfill that to you here in the next few weeks. So appreciate you bringing that up. Chris, how long can Peter Wood lay out the wood? I'm going to take the clean version of that and just say, long time. This dude, man, he's for real. He is strong and fast and scary. John, in your opinion, how much will the defense struggle at the start of the season, given all of the injuries? Seems there will be a lot of pressure on the offense to score more points. Quite possible, John. I mean, there's going to be an adjustment period. There's going to be. You've got some turnover on this defense. You're losing some big names, some big players, and at all levels. I mean, it's, the defensive front four is really the one that maybe is the most stable, but hey, you're missing, Mike Dana. You've lost Charles Omenihu. I mean, those were rotational pieces, but still important. You're losing starters at linebacker, corner, safety. The defensive backfield, I mean, 75% of your starters are gone. And some backups too. So, um, and the fact that you've got some new guys coming in, but they haven't played, like Monsieur Delane hasn't played. L'Jarius Sneed hasn't really practiced and hasn't practiced with Delane. So you're going to be talking about getting some guys on the field together. I mean, L'Jarius practiced a little bit, but it wasn't with Delane. I mean, I'm still going into the assumption that if the Chiefs get everyone back to healthy, and again, Andy Reid has claimed and said that none of these injuries are significant, and there's reason to believe that Delane might get that yellow non-contact jersey off maybe next week before the third preseason game at the latest is what I'm hearing. If that's the case, and that's when you get Delane back, I mean, we'll see about. I have no idea what the L'Jarius Sneed situation is. I mean, Andy Reid has said that, it's just like before when he was here. They're managing that knee. Well, we've had like 6 days of load management for L'Jarius Sneed right now. So I would have some concerns about that. But your mileage may vary. But I am worried because we've seen this before, that when the Chiefs have had some turnover, when they have new players coming in and young guys in the secondary, there's a learning curve before everything kicks in. And we've seen it in different phases. Going back to 2019, year one with Spags, it took 8 to 10 weeks before they figured everything out. And now once they did, I mean, they were like the best defense in the NFL once they figured out their secondary. They've had times where it's taken them maybe a month to figure things out. I think it's going to take them some time this year. Maybe it'll be a month. You're hoping it won't be more than half the season. I mean, you could end up in some shootouts if it's going to take you 8 weeks to figure it out if you're Dave Merritt and Steve Spagnuolo. But yeah, I think there might be some pressure on the offense to score early in the season, John. But I'm going to tell you what, I think this offense is going to be able to score. If this offense can also get healthy, and Kenneth Walker has been healthy, that hasn't been an issue. So I think Kenneth Walker is going to be a big part of that. Kelsey should be a big part of that. Rice is looking stronger every day. He's going to be a big part of that. You get Worthy back, whom, again, not serious issue with him and the shoulder. Looks like he's going to be fine. And Cyrus Allen too. I mean, getting back. If that's the core pieces that you have on this offense, I think you're going to be able to move the ball and score some points. So I don't think that's going to be a problem for this team, but they may have to score some points early in the season. I'm DeBrand. You're the best, dude. 5 gift memberships. We haven't had anybody do a gift membership in a while, so I truly appreciate I'm DeBrand. I know those are usually handed out randomly, so if you're one of the ones that got rewarded with a gift membership from I'm DeBrand, hope you post a thank you and everything in the messages. Love to see that. I've been scrolling down. Yes. Nice job, Nanda Brown. That's absolutely right. So you deserve the halo there. Yes, and if anybody's got one, give Nanda Brown the thank you. Give him the roses for that. He deserves that. That's very, very cool. Thank you. Jackson, I saw Nate Taylor's piece on the Chiefs dreaming and recalculating with what Cyrus Allen could be. What is the vision for him in the building with how good he can be? I think there's a couple of things that at least give you an indication about how the Chiefs feel about Cyrus Allen. And one is that any thoughts about him being a returner this year on either punts or kick returns has gone out the window. I sense no interest in that whatsoever. I know there's going to be some of you who are going to say, hey, they've had him out there on special teams. Well, even your third wide receiver is going to have to play some special teams. So you're still going to probably see him, doing some gunners, and, rookies are going to have to do that. Especially because, the Chiefs don't like to use Tyquan Thornton in those kind of roles. And you're certainly not going to use Worthy or Rashee Rice in those roles. So you start to run out of the numbers pretty quickly. But they're not gonna use him on. There's no plan to use him on special teams as far as a kick return or punt return role goes, because they don't want him on special teams when he's going to be back out on offense. That's a key thing that the Chiefs usually go for. It's one of the reasons why they wanted to get away from Xavier Worthy being a punt returner. It's one reason why they eventually got away from Tyreek being a punt returner. They want him to be an immediate part of the offense. And the question to me and kind of the vision for, Cyrus, Jackson is going to be, how quickly do they accelerate him? I, I'm still anticipating that week one, he's the kind of the fourth receiver. I could be surprised. I mean, he could be getting enough work where maybe he's the third receiver in week one. He's got, as far as a rookie goes, the upside that he's got is that he's really smart. He's picking up this offense really quickly, and I see a guy that can play all three spots. I mean, he can play the X, he could play the Z, he can play slot receiver. If anybody's out or you need to plug somebody in, I mean, Cyrus Allen can be that guy. He can be a bit of a matchup nightmare because you can move him around and not really know where he's going to be. He can handle all of that. I'm sure, hey, everybody's heard the comparisons that have been made. I think that was in the Albert Breer piece about comparing him to Stephon Diggs. I still think that was mostly a comparison as, like what he could be as a fifth rounder. Again, I mean, if he puts up those kind of numbers, great. I think they're a little bit different players. And I always proceed with caution with rookie receivers playing for Andy Reid, because it's not that I know a lot of people say that he just doesn't like rookies and he won't play them. That's not, and it doesn't trust them. That's not it. It's just that there's complicated parts of this offense that takes time to pick up, and it took Travis Kelce time. It took Tyreek Hill time. Tyreek Hill wasn't 1,000-yard receiver year one. I mean, it was 593. I mean, that's good numbers. Honestly, if Cyrus Allen put up 593 yards this year, I would cash that right now. I mean, he might end up with more, but I think a really good year for Cyrus Allen would be in that 400 to 600 yard range. Can he be, more than that? I think he can. And this is the thing. I mean, this is, I don't want to make a ridiculous comparison, but I'm going to. So let me preface it by saying, I'm not saying he's the next Jerry Rice, but he's got that kind of aspect to him, in that this is a guy that, once again, is not the most athletic. He's not the fastest guy on the field, but he does everything right. And I'm not even talking about just knowing the playbook, lining up in the right places. It's like he knows the technical aspects of the position and the little tiny details, things that Tyreek didn't know. Tyreek didn't know how to kind of maintain his speed through turns. He didn't know how to, move his hips and everything so that he could kind of, keep leverage on defensive backs, and how he could use his body to, outmaneuver people and, and like I said, keep his speed through the turns and not slow down. He knows things about, presenting himself to the quarterback, being, as Andy Reid once said about Rashee Rice, quarterback friendly. He knows how to find space. He knows how to get open. He knows how to, show his hands to the quarterback so the quarterback has a target to throw to. He knows how to go get the ball. I mean, he knows how to, the high point. I mean, he knows these little tiny things that some receivers come into this league not knowing and have to learn. He knows all these things. So, I mean, could Cyrus Allen be a 1,500-yard receiver? Could he beat Stephon Diggs and have like 6,000-yard seasons? It's possible. I mean, I'm not going to bet on it right now because I mean, let's let the dude play some games before we start saying that. But if you're talking about this guy being a gem in the 5th round, right now he looks like that. So, yeah, if you want to dream and everything and say, hey, this is your next number one receiver, this is the guy that you're going to lock up and is going to be with you for 10 years. Go ahead and dream, but I say let him play like 6 games first before you start putting him in the Ring of Honor. But Jackson, I'll say this: I think he's the most polished receiver I've seen coming into this offense in the last. I mean, in my at least last 10 years covering this team, the last 11 seasons covering this team, and and 40 years of watching this team. I mean, Tyreek was not this polished. Tyreek was just a phenomenal athlete who became a polished receiver. I mean, he's a technician. I mean, he really is. So that's what impresses me about them is that, and 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 the fact that when he talks about getting better, he's still talking about the little things. He's talking about his timing. He's talking about reading the coverage and reading defensive back so you know and anticipate where they're going and what they're going to be doing and what the coverage is telling you before the play. I mean, all this stuff is advanced math. It's really cool stuff to be hearing from a rookie receiver talking about. Emerson, thoughts on the difference of EB not in camp versus EB returning? It's louder. There's no doubt about that. I mean, I think most of the differences we're not going to notice, other than the volume which EB brings and waves, and that's the one thing you'll love and enjoy the most. I think about watching a Chiefs practice is EB. Getting it all out there and everything. But most of the stuff that you're gonna, I think where he makes a difference is behind the scenes. It's the little coaching techniques. I mean, that was one of the things that we were hearing about him being gone is, and once he got settled with Mia back in Virginia, was, he's calling, guys on the sideline and saying this. And then when they had him dialed in, so he was on the Zoom. Yeah, I don't know. I thought they had him on Zoom. Maybe it was just still the phone calls he was making, but he was able to get the all 22 footage from the cameras that are in the end zone. So he's watching this, and there's the one story that I heard as well about he called Brett Veach and asked Veach to put Reed on the phone so he could tell him that Emmett Johnson needs to work on where he's lining up, that he needs to be exactly 8 yards off the line of scrimmage. I mean, that was fantastic. But he was clearly giving a lot of feedback, and that was one of the things that I wondered what, because I've told you before, I mean, they do a meeting every single night where they evaluate this team about, hey, who's stacking days together, who's performing well, who's moving up, who needs more work, who needs less, and all these things. And, and having EB being a voice at that time so that he's part of the evaluation process, that was one of the things I thought was really, really important that they needed to keep. And so the fact that they were able to dial him in and still have that, I think was really big. But I mean, if you watch, you can see it because EB is continually coaching, even when he's not yelling at somebody, which is a lot. But you see him coaching. I mean, he's going to guys and again, like I've talked about, EB is a love him up guy, but he's a carrot and stick guy. I mean, he's going to give you the carrot, but he's also going to give you the stick, and that's what some guys need. So, I mean, I'm not going to say he's out there bringing a fire because this team had like 3 fights on Saturday when EB wasn't there. So I don't think that was the issue, but there's no doubt. I mean, I think that EB makes a difference. The coaches, the players all tell you that EB being there makes a difference. Pete, incredible with the gift there. Truly appreciate that. Just dropping that without the questions. Amazing. Truly appreciate that. It's very, very kind of you. You all humble me. So this is why you need to take care of my members even more. I'm DeBrown, so thank you for that. And Pete, that's truly, truly kind of you. I appreciate that. I know you've been around for a while and everything too. Jackson, how do the Chiefs view a healthy Delane inside the building? Do they expect him to become a true alpha #1 guy? I think that's a pretty good way to put it. I mean, they believe that he is going to be a shutdown corner, that he's going to be a guy that you avoid on the field, that you don't want to throw at this guy. Now, that means that he's going to have to make plays. I mean, because I don't know if I can really say for sure that, like Trent McDuffie was a shutdown corner. He was a really good corner, but part of it was because he made plays. He didn't create a lot of turnovers, which is why, that's what's going to drive teams away. Marcus Peters was more of a shutdown corner, although when he got picked on by the right people, that sometimes had some success with him. And that's not a knock against McDuffie. It's just that there were times that teams would challenge him. And hey, if it was some big, he's obviously struggled sometimes with big receivers. So there was a reason why they challenged him. Delane's a little bit bigger. So, I think the Chiefs are certainly hoping that's an advantage for him. But yes, they believe that he can be a shutdown guy, that teams will say, wait, this is not the guy that we want to challenge. We don't want to throw the ball at him because there's too much of a risk of a turnover. But again, in order to get that reputation, you're going to have to create the turnovers. So, and that, once again, depending on how healthy he is to begin in the season, is going to be somewhat of the challenge. But to your point, a healthy Delane inside the building, yeah, they think this guy wasn't just a factor of this being maybe a rough draft for corners at the top of the draft. They think this guy's legitimately a top 10 corner. So in any draft. So yeah, they think he can be a true alpha number one guy, and that's what they're hoping for. Jackson, your other comment, I won't make a big deal out of it, but I do love that, and I do appreciate that because yeah, it was I've had some interesting discussions of late. I will say that about the content out there, and there's some fun. I mean, there's some funny. I got if I really wanted to be a jerk, I could tell a really, really funny story, but I don't like being a jerk and calling out people. Although, well, no, I don't like calling out people, but I am going to call out people if it means defending content creators, and it means, defending people who are professionals who do their work and deserve their flowers and deserve their credit and deserve to be paid. So appreciate that, Jackson. John, thoughts on signing Ogbah? He's 5 years older. Yes, and not the same player he was, and well, actually, what, 7 years older, because 2019 was his last year here, only year, right? I mean, it was only 1 year in Kansas City, and hey, Spagnuolo mentioned on Tuesday that, hey, really, enjoyed him when he was here the first time around. Got hurt, and but he played really well when he was here. He is older now, so not the same guy. Had a kind of rough year in Miami last year. Numbers were not pretty. Look at the film. Film's probably not pretty either. But what is he? What's he going to be for this team? I see purely a depth piece. I don't think this is going to dramatically change your front four. I mean, Karlaftis and Gelati are your starters. I mean, at this point, R. Mason Thomas is going to be your guy that's a pass rush specialist off the bench. You've seen Felix kind of claim that spot people talk about, maybe I've heard, R. Mason Thomas kind of described as maybe the next Mike Dana. I think it's more like Felix. Felix is the guy that they're going to trust in run situations to be the edge setter on rundowns. I think he's a little bit stronger at this point in his career than R. Mason Thomas is. Thomas is faster. There's no doubt. He's got that fast twitch and everything, but strength is the struggle for Thomas, and he knows that. That's for the working on the future. He wants to be a stronger player, but right now it's Felix. And so I think, Felix is kind of your more well-rounded guy. Thomas is the guy that's going to be a pass rush specialist. And then, if you carry a fifth defensive end, I'll tell you what, I've seen plenty from Tyreek Smith. That kid's got a motor. Impressed with him. He's kind of taken. I thought Ethan Downs was going to make this team fairly comfortably, if not alone for special teams reasons. Tyreek Smith may get that opportunity too. He's not as flexible as Ethan Downs is, as maybe a potential special teams guy, but if he can do that, he can carve out a role on this team. And then you're like, okay, well, where's Ogbah fit in? Ogbah might be the Deion Bush of this team, and that he's a depth piece that you can get to the practice squad. Maybe he is your fifth D end. If injuries pop up, maybe he becomes your fourth D end, but he is not here to take snaps away from Gelati. He is not here to take snaps away from R. Mason Thomas. I don't believe they envision him taking snaps away from Felix. They want their young guys to play. And that's, I'm sure, one of the things that was made, clear to Ogbah when he came in is like, hey, are you okay with this potential role? Are you okay with being the fourth or fifth guy at defensive edge? And I imagine that's why he is here. Is that he's like, yeah, I'm okay with that. Patrick Mahomes, 67. There's a lot of Patrick Mahomes out there. When will Mahomes come back? When? He's come back. I mean, he's not going to play the preseason. I'll be very surprised if he plays any in the preseason. But week one, he's going to be there. He's going to be your quarterback. Pete, should we be considering trading Fulton for a wide receiver or a tight end, in your opinion, or see how it shakes out after cuts? I mean, I'd be very hesitant about trading a corner because one, I don't know that you have enough corners as it is. And again, I don't know if there's a lot of value out there for Fulton. There, you might be able to get something, and maybe to your point, maybe a player rather than a draft pick is a better way to go. Again, I'll be honest. I don't see the need for the Chiefs to go out and get a wide receiver. I don't know who you would get. One, like I've talked about, and we've seen it proved out time and time again, bringing a receiver in this point into a season for Andy Reid, you're not going to get anything. The most successful. I mean, number one is DeAndre Hopkins, and number two is Kadarius Toney. I mean, those are your two golden children of bringing in wide receivers and through after the beginning of training camp. Really, as far as additions to the team, and that's not good enough. I mean, especially if you're talking about a corner that can play. No, it's not good enough. I have not seen enough of Fulton healthy this season to know for sure. I saw a lot of people giving Christian Fulton a lot of grief yesterday. And if they saw Christian Fulton today, they should be taking it back because he had some rough moments on Monday. He erased them on Tuesday. He was arguably one of their best corners on Tuesday. But we've seen this before. I mean, we've seen Fulton, struggle at times, defensively. Once he got comfortable last year, obviously he was really good at the end of the season. If that's the Christian Fulton that you're getting healthy, I wouldn't trade that dude. I mean, I would hold on to him. I kind of feel the same way about tight end as I do wide receiver, Pete. I just don't know if there's a tight end out there that you're going to come in that's going to fix anything. I have concerns about tight end. My concerns have eased somewhat from OTAs, but I still have the concern that I don't know what happens if Travis Kelce gets hurt. He's still the best tight end on this team by a considerable margin. I still feel like he's like an 800-yard potential tight end if healthy. I can't see anybody else at this point in their NFL career putting up half that many yards. So, and maybe not even close to half that many yards. So, maybe one of you guys will surprise me if pushed into duty, but I would have a lot of hesitations. But then again, I don't know if there's another tight end that is going to fix the problem. It's a little bit the die is cast. You have the squad that you've got, and there's places. I mean, sometimes you can squeeze in an elite pass rusher. Sometimes you can maybe squeeze in a corner. It's a really, really good corner. I mean, I'm not talking about aging Darrelle Revis, but but even last year you saw I mean, trading an elite corner trading for an elite corner doesn't necessarily fix your defense. There's a lot of different pieces that go to these things. So I don't know. I would say give Fulton time because you can never have. I mean, it's cliche, but it's true. You can't have enough guys that cover. So I would rather, even at the cost, and that's the other issue too. Trading Fulton, I think there'd be some teams that would wait you out because he's got I think he's got $3 million in dead cap this year and a $5 million base. Not a lot of teams are going to want to trade for the $5 million base. If they're going to pick up Christian Fulton, they'd rather you release Christian Fulton and they'll pick him up and pay him less. So yeah, I don't see the value there. I don't think you can get what you want. I think keeping Christian Fulton and getting the most out of him as a player is probably your best value. Callie Cash, why is Jalen Hurts behind you? Joking, but still want to know. Let me see. Let me turn. I think I know why. Yes. You can't see it because it is kind of hiding behind the banner. It's the NFL record and fact book from last year. I just put it up there as a piece. I mean, and obviously I've got one of my books is there. There's another one hiding up there too. And then all my Star Wars collections and things of this nature hiding behind me. But I just have the NFL fact book up there every once in a while. And I guess I've had it for a couple of years because I'm pretty sure they put the, it's either the Super Bowl MVP or just the Super Bowl winning quarterback on the cover every year. So it had Mahomes on the cover for obviously a couple of years. So I had it up there. I just pulled it down and put up the new one and everything so that's why Jalen Hurts is stalking me over my, the corner of my shoulder there. So now you have the answer, Callie. Let's see where to next. Pano, haven't heard from Pano in a while. Awesome. What did I tell you, Matt, about Fulton and Snead? Wasted signings. They can't even practice when they don't do anything. What is Brett thinking? Like I said, Pano, Tuesday was a different day for Fulton. I mean, you were right. I mean, you had the injury concerns, and I hopefully did not argue with the one about Snead, because I mean, at least the thing about Snead is that it was cheap, but this is exactly what I thought too about L'Jarius coming back, is that knee is, I have no faith in the knee. I've got a lot of faith in L'Jarius Snead. I have no faith in that knee of his, and kind of seeing it this week is kind of bearing out that, that knee is a problem for L'Jarius. Fulton, like I said, I mean, that's another one of those things that I'm gonna hold on to him and see what happens. I don't know there's any way around it. And once again, I mean, if you get Fulton from the last 8 weeks last year, you get him back and healthy, I think you're gonna be okay. So we'll see what happens, Pano. But I got you. You said it. So, and I can't necessarily argue with you on either point right now. I mean, we got to see what Fulton can be. I mean, Snead, I've got some serious concerns about, but Fulton, let's see what happens. Folkestone, I've heard a lot about some 3 tight end sets and Wiley stacking days. Are you feeling better about the tight end room? I feel better than I did about OTAs. I think that, I think it's both things. I think it's a little bit of the improvement of the tight end room. I think it's a little bit the improvement of all the quarterbacks. During 11 on 11, during the offseason workouts, there was no Mahomes. He was only out there for 7 on 7. So now you've got some of these guys working with Mahomes, which helps. They've also got in Fields and Nussmeier, a couple of backups that are more comfortable in the offenses, and I think they're both, as a result, looking better. So it's helped. But like I said, I mean, I like Jared Wiley. I see some upside there. Jake Briningstool has some great plays periodically. I mean, I think there's, and again, as a physical specimen, he's got the height. In theory, he's got the strength, and now he's got another year of experience. I mean, if he can, but again, they're undrafted free agent for a reason there with Briningstool. Wiley was a draft pick, and this year, you're hoping that he's back to 100% of his full health. This is the year that you would be circling for Jared Wiley coming back from that ACL. I don't know what they are yet. And like I said, I mean, you give either one of these guys a full season at this point in their careers, I'm betting they don't crack 400 yards. I mean, if you have to feed him the ball, and that became a situation where maybe you have to play without Travis Kelce, maybe one of them thrives. But just haven't seen it to this point yet. Haven't seen that consistency, and the inconsistency issue goes on down too. I mean, there are times where I think that Trey Watson is the best backup tight end in this room, and then he will drop an absolutely perfectly thrown ball wide open with nobody in coverage, and just make you want to pull your hair out. I mean, again, can you fix these things? If you can, you got some good players there across the board. It's just still refining them a little bit. And I think Wiley, I think for sure is making this team. I think that obviously the Chiefs are keeping at least 3 tight ends. Wiley, I think, is pretty much locked in as that 3rd tight end. Question's going to be, do you keep 4? I think it's Briningstool ahead of the others right now. Watson would probably be next. And again, if you have a Watson or a Mason Pline on the practice squad for experience and depth, to learn and for some depth, no problems with that. I mean, I think that's where you'll probably end up. Eric, when do you expect the lane to be cleared? Veach told Sirius 7 to 8 days. Also, do the Chiefs believe Rice's knee is shot? I saw ESPN report they might. First part about Delane, 7 to 8 days is probably, from when that interview was done, which I believe was still a couple of days ago. Yeah, I think that's reasonably accurate. kind of timeline. What I've been hearing is that they believe he's going to be able to get that non-contact yellow jersey off sometime after this weekend's preseason game, after the third game at the latest. So, one of those timelines is kind of at the very beginning of that 7 to 8 days, and one's maybe a little bit beyond 7 to 8 days, but that's where I would expect it. I mean, the frustrating thing, if you're a Chiefs fan, is that, if he doesn't get that non-contact jersey off by the end of next week, you're never going to see him in training camp and 11 on 11. I mean, you've seen him in 7 on 7 and you've gotten a glimpse, but you haven't seen the full kind of experience yet. And I don't think the Chiefs they want him healthy. I mean, that's why they're trying not to push him and everything like that. I don't think this is like they're trying to hide him aspect of it or anything and just want to unveil him in week 1. You can tell. I mean, Steve Spagnuolo is stressed about what this absence means for his development. They want him on the field. So, yeah, I mean, 7 to 8 days, I think if it ends up being into 7 to 10 days, maybe, because maybe it's after the second preseason game, I wouldn't be surprised. As far as Rice's knee being shot, I have not heard that. The surgery that he had in the offseason was a very minor procedure. It was a debridement. There's just some loose bodies in there that were causing inflammation that you go in and get. I've had that debridement surgery on my foot before. It's not a big deal. I mean, yeah, it's a little invasive and everything, and probably a little bit overblown. I mean, is there time to recover? Yeah, sure. And and Rice went through that. Probably, honestly, the biggest rehab standpoint of it is just that you're not able to run, you're not able to do the body work with your legs and everything, and as a result, I mean, Rice looked a little stiff last week. He does not look stiff anymore. I mean, he looks like he's worked out the kinks and everything. I get no sense. I mean, when I talk to people behind the scenes about the Chiefs and what they expect from Rice this year, I mean, they still believe he's a number 1 receiver. They still believe he can be like a 1,200-yard guy. And if he has a big year, well, there's might be a franchise tag waiting for that young man. We'll see what happens. But I think that the long-term problem with Rashee's knee is kind of overblown. I certainly don't get the sense that it's that big of a deal. And I've seen, some discussion about that as well. I don't see it and haven't heard it to that extreme. No, Luttrell. Nick will be on a Q&A long before Tyreek is a Chief, and we'll discuss about whether Tyreek will ever be a Chief. But let's see, where are we going to go next? That's not a question, but Blazeman Bobby, I saw you walking in the media tent last Wednesday. You look like you hated life at that point. Oh man, that cracks me up. I wish I could remember it depends on the time and what was going on that day. But I mean, honestly, Blazen, Bobby, there's a reasonable chance that if you look at me any point and day at training camp, I might be hating life at that particular moment, especially if it's hot and or raining. So, which is all the time. I just appreciate that somebody else saw that. And training camp has broken me several times. So, that's where we're at. Stoic Stranger, what have you seen from Caldwell? I heard he's quite a raw receiver, but probably wouldn't make the practice squad due to another team liking his athletic traits. I mean, I'm the opposite. I think he would make the practice squad. Remember, every team in the NFL had a chance to draft him multiple times and nobody did. And he chose to come to Kansas City. They were willing to pay him. And anybody, I mean, is somebody going to claim him on waivers? I mean, it's going to have to be somebody who just doesn't need a roster spot because, like you said, he is quite raw as a receiver. Not ready really for the NFL. He needs at least a year on the practice squad for seasoning and everything. Like you said, though, there's a lot of athletic traits there. But if you're going to claim him and put on your 53, it's because you're planning on maybe leaving him inactive for 18 weeks. I mean, that's the real possibility because he's not he's not really a special teams kind of guy. I mean, he's, are you going to put him out there as a gunner? That's not really an ideal spot for a guy with that size. I mean, there's one of the reasons why, like, Tyquan Thornton doesn't play gunner. It's not really. I mean, usually you don't have 6'4" guys out there, 6'5" guys out there playing gunner. They're usually smaller and faster guys. So Caldwell, I mean, I'd have to go back and look at my notes as far as where they have him on special teams, but I mean, I don't remember seeing him as a gunner, and I don't think that. I mean, again, that's really a position for him. So if you're a team that's going to claim him as a receiver who's not ready for the league, who can't really play a lot of special teams, probably, that's a problem. So I think he would clear waivers. And then, if you're talking about choosing where to go, if you're a receiver and you clear waivers and you get a choice about practice squad, you are absolutely crazy to go to another team, because picking up another offense like that, especially if you're a raw rookie like Caldwell. I mean, if the Chiefs waive you and they want you back, you should, sign that thing and get back into the locker room as fast as you possibly can. I don't think there's a better situation in the league for Caldwell than right here. But to your point, he's raw, he's not ready. But with some seasoning, you never know what you got there. I mean, Chiefs have turned guys like that before into productive receivers. So let's give him. I'd give him a chance, but no, I think we can revisit it, Stoic, but I think he'll clear waivers, and I think he will end up back on the Chiefs practice squad. That would be my prediction. John, confused as the way they are handling Benson. Who is the starting right tackle for this team? That's a great question, Sean, because, if you saw the depth chart that the Chiefs put out, the unofficial depth chart, by the way, and whenever I talk about the unofficial depth chart, I'm always reminded of David Letterman talking about stupid pet tricks and saying, remember, this is an exhibition, not a competition. Please, no wagering. That's how I feel about the unofficial depth chart, because I know people work hard on it. I am never critiquing the people who work hard on it. I put out my own depth charts and my own projected 53. I get things wrong, so not blaming anybody. And sometimes you can look at things and see them in certain ways, and sometimes you're given marching orders like, hey, put veterans here and all those kinds of things. But Chiefs list Jalen Moore as your starter at right tackle. He's been the starter the last few days while Khalil Benson's been filling in for Trey Smith. That's not long-term, though, because Trey Smith's coming back. So what happens to Khalil Benson when Trey Smith does come back? I don't know for sure. The Chiefs, they would love to have some more depth at guard. So if cross-training Benson, who also played some guard during OTAs, he played a little guard in college too. So, and again, I mean, a lot of scouts, that was the scouting report on Benson, was that probably better suited to guard at the NFL level than tackle. So they want to give him some experience there, see what he's got, see what he's like. After these last few days, maybe they'll decide that the backup spot's the best place for Benson, and they'll want to getting both places. I would be very interested to see if they do both for him on Saturday in this preseason game. If he plays both guard and tackle, I think that would be really interesting. If he plays just exclusively guard, I think that may tell you that, Jalen Moore is going to be your right tackle, and Khalil Benson's going to be a swing tackle, and maybe he'll even end up behind Esapole. It certainly feels like at this point, and what I've heard was that, hey, the Chiefs feel like that he has distanced himself a little bit from Esa at the tackle spot. So I don't think he's going to just all of a sudden disappear. I think he's absolutely making this team, and he's either going to be right tackle or he will be the swing tackle who can help out at guard too. I think it's going to be just how, is Caliendo going to continue to be the backup guard? Is Nourzad going to be able to push him for that too? I think all three of those guys, could, filter in there some way or another. But I don't know. Week one, John, I mean, right now, I keep going back and forth, but right now, I would probably say, and when I when I have my next 53 player roster projection out, I'm gonna have I think I'm gonna have Jalen Moore at right tackle. That just seems the way I think it's going at this point. The move that they had this week with kicking him inside the guard and putting Moore at right tackle, it certainly seems like and feels like the kind of move that could be permanent. And maybe they'll continue to have them rotate back and forth. But the longer that Jalen Moore continues to get work at right tackle, the more I will believe that he is going to be your right tackle. But Bobby, on the drop down, they I'm trying to remember how many years ago it was. It was I think probably just before COVID was when they made the first move. So maybe like 18 or so, give or take a year, was when they went down to one cut to 90 to 75, and then I think it was right after COVID that they just got rid of that one cut at all, and just everybody, and it may have been the COVID year, because that was obviously such a weird year for the NFL. So reasonably recent, but it's been a while since they've done two cuts, and I both like and dislike it at the same time. Let's see where else. Oh, Nikki, glad you. I saw you earlier. I saw that comment when I was looking to see if anybody had thanked I'm the Brown yet for those for the gift subscriptions, and I saw you're listening at half speed to catch up. And yes, John, definitely need to get your autograph. So and I need to. Yes, I'm thinking about the different one, but yes, I will follow up with you. I think there's a way that if I can't message you on YouTube, then I will. You can message me one way or the other. We'll get it figured out, John. Because I want to get to you before I forget. I guess I clearly forget things sometimes. I think that's the other thing that Matt's community has figured out. Matt sometimes forgets things, but he means well. Hopefully, that's the other thing you've learned, that I mean well. It looks like Stoic Stranger got one of the gift memberships. Thanks, Andy Brown. Absolutely. I love that. Appreciate that. John, do you think Mark Donovan is paying attention to the feedback that Bills fans have about the obstructed views at the new Highmark Stadium? Oh, I guarantee you that he is paying attention. Also, I am absolutely certain that he is taking a deep breath, sigh of relief that he selected Manica to do the designs. Not casting aspersions on anyone or anything. I mean, you all want to support our local architecture firms and everything. And again, maybe there's things outside of people's control. I don't know the backstories on it, but man, there are. I mean, Buffalo spent like what, 2.1 billion on that stadium, and that's a lot of money. I get it, and I think they spent it. Didn't they spend it? Was that all their money? I think they got some money from the state of New York. I'm probably thinking of Denver that is spending their own Walmart money on the stadium, although they got the land for free, which is from the city, which is not inconsiderable. So that's a significant contribution. But yeah, my impressions from looking at the photos and even watching some of the highlights of that game and the shots of the stadium, I mean, it looks like a $2.1 billion stadium, which is, I mean, it sounds like a really champagne problem to say, but that's not what NFL stadiums cost these days. I mean, I'm not expecting everybody to put $7 billion into their stadium like Kroenke did in Los Angeles, but man, the new Highmark Stadium doesn't look really impressive to me. I mean, it looks like the scoreboards are small. They've obviously have some, obstructed view issues at a lot of seats. Seemed like there was a lot of complaints about bathrooms and all of these things, and the steepness of the upper deck, and to climb a mountain, class 3 mountain. I don't know what it was. Probably be terrible for my knees. I'm just like, yeah, it's like, gosh, it sounds like the new Highmark Stadium is definitely a masterclass in learning some do's and don'ts about stadium construction. So, yeah, I know I'm going to get in trouble for that Jerry Rice thing, but I have the qualifiers in. John, I've heard that Laramie Tunsil is out for the season. If additional left tackles get hurt, what would the Chiefs have to trade more? I mean, again, that's one of the spots where I'm like, I don't know if I'm trading anybody. I mean, remember, how far removed are you as Chiefs fans when you've had all your tackles go down and you've got like fourth and fifth tackles starting in the Super Bowl protecting Mahomes. A couple of years ago, you had a revolving door at left tackle that you somehow survived, by the way. But you can go through 4, 5, 6 tackles in a season. Don't be giving them away. I get it. You got, and last year you had to go through some tackles as well last year. Are you to the point where you're comfortable playing, 10 games with True Godric or, you didn't see Ethan Driscoll at all last year. You're not really that far away from me. You're as far away as you were last year to, True Godric and Ethan Driscoll being your tackles right now as you were last year. You suffered the same injuries as you did a year ago at the end of the season. And that's what you could be facing. And I like both those guys, but Chew has limited experience. Driscoll has no experience. I don't think to me, corner, edge rusher, offensive tackle, those are two spots where I just do not want to give away depth. So, you'd have to offer me a fortune to get Jalen Moore away from me. I'm talking like maybe I would hold you ransom for like a first or a second. That's the kind of nonsense I would go through. I just would not give guys like that up. I just think that they're too valuable. So I'm not the best one to ask, John. They could certainly get some market there. But nah, I don't know. I would be holding on to Jalen Moore. So let's see. Nick, I'm magical. There's a lot. I can teleport. I can be in two places at the same time. I got skills. That's all I'm saying. Oh, Pete. Hey, Cincinnati players, Chiefs can't go wrong there. Yeah, Jeremy, you're right. It would be nice if the Felix move paid off. He told us this week. This is the healthiest he's ever felt on the Chiefs. And I can say it too from watching him. I feel like this is the best football that Felix has played so far this year, or so far in his career. I think this is the best stretch that he's had. Jackson, do you believe the strength of this team will be in the trenches on both sides of the ball this year? That's a really good question and a good point, because on the defensive side, I think that's absolutely where it's going to have to start. You have put your resources there. You've put your money there in keeping Chris Jones. You've paid George Karlaftis, who was also a first-round pick. Not recently. It was 4 years ago, but you still paid him too and drafted him high. You've put a first-rounder, a second, and a third into that line, in the last 3 years. You've put the resources in. So this is the year that with the secondary in transition, you need that defensive line to step up. And on the offensive side, Chiefs have two legitimate all-pro, Pro Bowl caliber players, and Trade Humphrey and Trey Smith. Trey, you need him to stay healthy. That's been the one thing that's been his only bugaboo really the last few years, has been just staying healthy. Had some bad breaks as far as the injuries go, and now the hip. You want to get him as healthy as you can. Creed's been an Iron Man, so that hasn't been an issue at all. Kingsley, it just continues to get, I think, better and better. We'll see. Maybe he blossoms into a Pro Bowl caliber player this year. I don't think he's that far away. I don't think Josh Simmons is that far away. This is a guy that the Chiefs absolutely believe can be their cornerstone left tackle. So when you're talking about from that standpoint, yeah, there's a reasonable chance that it should. On the offensive side, hey, the strength of your team will probably be Patrick Mahomes. Your run game should be really good. But another reason why your run game should be pretty good is I like this offensive line. And I don't know if I doubt that we're going to see a whole lot of the screen game on Saturday against the Rams because the Chiefs are going to keep that under wraps. But man, we've seen more screens in St. Joe this summer than, gosh, at least since Jerick McKinnon's been here. And I'm like, maybe even like early Jerick McKinnon, like his first year with the Chiefs. It's been a while, like 5 years while. I mean, since we've seen this many screens. And I like that. I like it because this is the kind of offensive line that I think will take screens and bust out 30 yards for you every once in a while. So I'm certainly fine with that. But yeah, the offensive and defensive line should be strengths of this team this year, Jackson. Danny Pomeroy. Matt, did Rashee seem a little bit nervous and a bit embarrassed? Had a hard time not feeling for him a bit, knowing this day was coming. Tough. I'll say I thought Rashee handled it pretty well. The one criticism I've heard from anyone that's said it about him is that they're still disappointed that he hasn't apologized to his teammates. And I think that's legitimate. I don't think that's an issue, feeling that way. And here's the only reason why I think that maybe Rashee hasn't offered an apology to his teammates, and it's because I don't get the sense that this team or his teammates have asked for one. I don't think anybody is going to Rashee and saying, dude, we're disappointed in you. We're disappointed that you weren't here for us this summer. We're disappointed that you let us down. We can't have you doing that anymore. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm not saying that in an accountability way. I'm saying that in this team and this organization likes Rashee Rice. I wanted to see. I asked Rashee, because let's face it, I don't really know Rashee Rice. I know him just as much from headlines as I do from talking to him in the locker room. I mean, we don't get to talk to him a lot, but I do get to see him behind the scenes. So I have at least a different picture of him than the public does and fans have. And I've also seen how his friends and teammates and coworkers and bosses talk about him. And there's, very few people for which, I can say that there has been this great a disconnect between how people talk about someone and what you hear about someone and what you read about someone. You read the headlines, you see TMZ, you see all the news and all these things, and it's very easy to come to the conclusion that Rashee Rice, terrible person. Why would anybody like Rashee Rice? Well, his teammates like him. This organization likes him. And I asked him just, for people who don't know you, who only know you through the headlines, through the news, what should people know about you? What would you tell them about who you are? And I thought he gave a really thoughtful answer. He talked about how he's a fun-loving guy. He likes to have fun until it's time to be serious, when there's time to work. And he made a very specific point at the end to say that above all, he wants to be a good father to his kids. I thought it was I don't think that. Here's the thing. I think with Rashee, by and large, you get what you see. I don't think that there's a whole lot with Rashee that's calculated or fake. I don't think he just tells you what he wants you to hear or what he's supposed to say. Again, if he only said what he's supposed to say or what we think we want to hear, he would have apologized to his teammates. Again, I think that the biggest reason why you haven't heard one is that his teammates and the people in this organization are just like, hey, Rashee, we're glad you're here. We're glad you're okay. We're glad you made it through that, dude. That's how they feel about this guy. They're not guilt tripping him. There's none of that. And they like this guy. So, like I said, there's a real disconnect there. He had to pay the piper. He had to face it. He's going to have to face it again if he makes more mistakes. And, again, I thought he acknowledged that today too, that he can't make another mistake. His second chances are probably run out. He can't do that. It was tough. I'll be honest. it did not. I didn't think it was as rough as like the press conference that Tyreek Hill had after he got drafted in Kansas City. If you haven't ever heard that one, I mean that's worth kind of looking up and everything. It was just a phone call. It was a teleconference, so you didn't get to see it or anything. But it was pretty clear, after about the third or fourth question that Tyreek really wasn't prepared for the reaction that his draft selection had. I mean, it was kind of like you got the sense that he'd been told that, hey, you don't talk about it. It's going to go away. There won't be a lot of questions about it, or maybe even just said, hey, it's in the past. Don't worry about it, or just act like it's in the past and it's not a big deal. And every question was about his past and about the incident with his girlfriend at the time, and the charges. I mean, it was all about that. Everything was about that. And, you could tell, I mean, it wore on him. And Rashee, I feel like it has worn on him in the past. I know, I'm sure he was nervous because he's been nervous before. But here's the thing, Danny, I'll tell you, I thought he was less nervous today and a little bit more confident, but I did not think he came across as arrogant. I thought he came across as pretty genuine. And yeah, he did some things that were either really, innocent or really savvy. He was asked at one point a question about, what he did, what was that month like this summer? And, he started talking about working with Mahomes and, seeing him and what he was going through injury wise and rehabbing. And it's like, oh, it's easy to get through. And then, what you're going through. And then it's like, no, the other month, not the one where you were in Kansas City and rehabbing with Mahomes. How about the one where you were in jail that month? So either that was just innocent or that was just a fairly savvy move of like, well, didn't ask what specific month, so I'm just going to talk about one of my months. But I don't think so. I mean, like I said, I don't get really the sense that Rashee is ever, trying to be tricky or sneaky with anybody. I think he's pretty genuine, and he has been nervous in the past. Like I said, I thought he was a little bit less nervous today. I thought he handled himself pretty well. I completely understand it if people wish that there was more. I get that they would if people want to see him, continue to have accountability for what he's done in the past and reemphasize that and answer for saying, hey, you know what, shouldn't have happened. I mean, I can't mess up like that. I can't end up going to jail. I can't end up violating my probation again. I'm sorry to my teammates that I let them down. I get all of that. But there are times when I really see what this team sees in Rashee, that they see a genuine, person that they like, that's made some mistakes, that they forgive. And I get also, people who feel the other way, that see a person that they can't forgive because, he affected some people's lives. So I get it both ways, and that's the way the world works. So Jeremy, who do you have the highest hopes for to make all pro for the first time as of Chiefs players? Ooh. Let's see. Looking up because I don't think this player has made all pro yet. So, nope. It doesn't look like he has. I'm really, really tempted to say Kenneth Walker. I mean, honestly, I mean, if Rashee Rice were healthy, I wouldn't. The only thing about Rashee Rice is that I'm sure that there's probably some votes that he wouldn't get. But I think Kenneth Walker's going to have a big year. And it'll be a lot of it's going to depend on the passing game. It's going to depend on, whether he can look as smooth and good in the passing game as he has most of the time in St. Joe. Not saying that there haven't been some slip ups and everything, that there haven't been some drops and some issues. Today was one of those days, and he wasn't alone. So maybe today was a slippery day. There was some moisture in the air. So maybe that was the issue. It was not an easy. There have been worse days. There have been easier days to hold on to the football. He's had some days where it looks like he's got, stickum on his hands and he's just hauling down on everything and making really difficult catches. And then there's moments like today where he had probably 3 drops that were really easy catches. And I know there's been some knocks and saying that was the same story in Seattle. I mean, maybe we're going to get in the regular season and that's what's going to happen. And suddenly it's going to be like, well, guy is not going to get you 500 yards through the air. But I think he can. And I mean, 2,000 yards from scrimmage, I'm not predicting it, but I think it's possible. I mean, Rice, I said I think that's a possible prediction too. Kingsley, I think it's going to be a difficult stretch. Like I said, I think he's improving, but I think, well, again, there's a reputation and kind of a thing that you have to go through to get that kind of an honor. That's why I think Walker might be able to do it because, hey, he's already got a Super Bowl MVP. He's got the ring. So he backs all of that up with a big season. Then, that's why I think it makes it easy pick for me. And also because I just think that he's going to have a really, really big year this year. So that's probably who I would bet on. Danny, also, Seren Petro seems to think if Andy goes, say, 6-11 again, then this is the sign the game has maybe passed him by. Would you feel that way at all yet? It's an interesting point. I mean, and Seren and I have talked about this. So we've kind of discussed this and looked at it from different angles and everything. I mean, I'm the same way. I mean, you said, hey, Seren doesn't believe this team's going to go 6-11. I don't either. But, let's say I still think it depends on how you get to 6-11. If you get to 6-11 because Mahomes gets hurt again, has a setback of some sort, there's other sets of injuries that play into this, then that's how I could see it happening. Now, if you get to 6-11, Patrick Mahomes is healthy most of the season, but Kenneth Walker doesn't work out. The run game doesn't work out. You rank 25th in the league in defense because of just everybody that you lost on that side of the football. I mean, if the offense is not better and drops and is not even a top 10, much less top 15, maybe it's barely a top 20 offense. If that's how you go 6-11, then there's going to be some questions. But I think that if this team had 2 back-to-back 6-11 seasons, I think it's going to be incredibly disappointing. But I think that Andy Reid has enough currency in this game, in this league, with this team to be like to get another year. But I could also see it being, okay, Andy, it's your choice. If you want to walk away, we're not going to stop you. If you want to coach in 27, you got to win. You got to get back to the playoffs. And if you don't get back to the playoffs, if it's a third straight year of not, then we're moving on. I mean, I can't see the Chiefs moving on from Andy Reid after a bad season next year. I mean, unless it's just atrocious. And again, I mean, that's like Patrick Mahomes plays 17 games and you're 6-11. That's scary. If there's another way you get there, then I can see credit having been earned and cashed in. But you never know. I mean, it's difficult to see. It would be difficult to see 2 years of Patrick Mahomes go down the drain. But then again, there's also going to be the argument that some people will make, which is like, hey, yeah, the dude came back in 6 months, but he's still coming back from an ACL. He's not Patrick Mahomes. And maybe that's part of it. Maybe that's what ends up happening. I mean, if Patrick Mahomes plays 18 games and he only throws for 3,500 yards and 19 touchdowns, then maybe his ACL, maybe he's the problem. And it's not Andy Reid. Maybe that's the case. So I mean, there's a lot of different ways that you could end up there, Danny, but I just can't see, the Chiefs bailing on Andy Reid after a second bad season, but I can't imagine there being a third without consequences. That's eventually what it comes down to. Land Before Space Time. I answer all questions. So how was the release of GTA 6 in November going to affect the team? I guess I don't know. I don't remember when GTA 5 came out. So I don't know. I mean, that actually does seem like the kind of game that would be big for these guys, but they've always seemed I mean, that's going to affect the league around all around Land Before, so that's going to affect everybody, space time, not just the Chiefs. So, you got that going on, but they seem to have managed, game releases in the past without things going too far south on them. So Not going to affect me at all because I've never played GTA at all. So I'm aware of it. I know about it. I'm old enough to remember, the first, edition of Grand Theft Auto that was, had like the stickers and everything, and and everybody was freaking out about, and was like, you had to be 21 to play and all these things. So I'm old school, even if I'm a total nerd when it comes to gaming. So. Sorry, I missed you. Oh, sorry to skip you, Mark. How does the O-line depth look in 26 compared to 25? Probably comparable. I mean, because you're talking about the same guys for the most part. I mean, Khalil Benson's an addition, but you're going to go into this season, and let's say it's Jalen Moore, Khalil Benson's your swing tackle, Essa Pillay will be your fourth guy. Your interior guys are going to be Hunter Norzad and Mike Caliendo. So that would be 9 with your starting lineup. And so your backups being Pole, Benson, Norzad, Caliendo. You're at 9. You get a practice squad, and so maybe you keep Chu, Ethan Driscoll maybe is in that ballpark as well, competing for a spot. Probably about it for me. I'm not sure that right now. I mean, I'm trying to remember his last name. Pete Nygred. He's probably the next guy in line right now as far as an interior lineman making this team. You still have CJ Hansen. Those guys I think would be practice squad candidates as well. I don't think at this point right now you necessarily see the Chiefs keeping 10. I think 9 is more likely, and if that's the case, I think that's your 9 right there. So I mean, once again, that's except for Benson, it's the exact same offensive line. I mean, you're basically swapping out Benson from Juwan Taylor, and otherwise exact same line. So kind of the same. And then even then, I mean, your practice squad guys might be all the same dude. So I think it's looking pretty similar, Mark. I mean, and again, that might be one area where the Chiefs look to try and upgrade. Maybe they do try to find a veteran interior guard, preferably. They got center covered. Norzad, I think, is a really good center. Caliendo can play center. I think they would like just either an additional guard or an upgraded guard. Even though, I mean, Norzad and Caliendo has played guard in this league. Norzad can, but I think I think they'd be more comfortable with somebody who's a guard first. And if Benson's your swing guard too, and you throw him in the mix, I mean, maybe you just overcome it with numbers. But I mean, right now, it's the same guys, Mark. It really is. KC Chiefs 12. Oops, I think I did it again, but I'll come back to you, John. Spags seemed really down in the secondary. Have they looked that bad? In Steve Spagnuolo's eyes, yes. In everybody else's eyes, probably yes. It's been rough because guys are hurt. You haven't had Mansour Delane, and you can tell Spags is absolutely terrified about what all this missed time and experience is going to do for him as far as acclimating to the NFL level in week 1 and fitting into the defense and understanding everything. That's why they're trying to expose him to as much of the defense and the play calls and all of these things and the communication that goes on the field. They're trying to get him experience with as much of that as they possibly can right now. So that's fear one right there, injury wise. I mean, L'Jarius Sneed's barely practiced. I don't know how he's going to fit in, but that's another concern. Christian Fulton has been dinged up as well. That's setting him back again. And like I said, I thought he had a much better day on Tuesday than he had on Monday. But again, it's about stacking days, and at this point, Fulton hasn't stacked some days. He needs to back up Tuesday with another good day on Wednesday. Then you're going to start, making Spags feel a little bit better. But there's 3 question marks right off the bat. He's really happy with Noah Williams, you can tell, and he should be. I mean, I think Noah Williams at this point, I would say, has been the best corner on this team in camp. So that's a win. Right now, if you had to go play a game tomorrow, Melvin Smith would be starting on the other side. I'm assuming he'll be one of the guys that plays early on Saturday, get some looks at him and see what he can do. So there's 2 at least solutions at corner. You got 3 questions at corner, and then hey, Jaden Canaday might be your. I mean, now you're the 6 corners on this team, and you got questions, and you haven't gotten down to Kader Kohu yet. Maybe he doesn't make this team. I mean, Jaden, with the way that Canaday has been playing, the fact that they seem to be committed to Chris Roland Wallace, and I consider, I know you get a lot of questions about this, but Chris Roland Wallace is a safety for all intents and purposes, and the fact that he works with the safeties every single day makes him a safety in my mind, so he is going to be a safety. But now you're like, okay, I mean, if Kader Kohu makes the team, I mean, he's like 7th on the list right now. And that does, I mean, and maybe somebody else doesn't. I mean, maybe that does mean that you walk away because maybe you're not, again, I don't think they're going to move on from Christian Fulton, but I mean, is Legarius going to be available for 17 games? Maybe not. He hasn't been the last 2 years. So that's been an issue. I mean, yeah, and then nobody else has really stepped up. So nobody else has really claimed a spot. And and there's other guys. I mean, Kevin Knowles is around, although Knowles is again a guy I would they truly consider a nickel guy. So not necessarily a solution on the outside. I mean, it's been injuries. It's been the fact that nobody has stepped up. That's been given some opportunities, except maybe for Melvin Smith. I mean, Melvin Smith might be the one guy you'd say, okay, that guy has been given an opportunity and has claimed it. But I'm not looking at Melvin Smith and saying, okay, you're set. Noah Williams, Melvin Smith, week 1 starters. You're feeling good. You're not feeling great. So yeah, I see why Spags is stressed out about it. And looking forward. I mean, we should get Dave Merritt next week, depending on the number of assistants get requested. But I'm pretty sure we're going to ask for Dave Merritt because Dave Merritt's one of the best people to talk to, and he's got some people. We got some questions for Dave Merritt, so I'm hoping to hear from him next week. But yeah, it's a lot of question marks at corner. So I understand why Spags is a little stressed out about it. Pete, who do you expect the right tackle to be week 1, Moore or Benson? Right now, I'm gonna bet on Moore. I think that's going to be the guy. Could be a problem, but it's. I think it's going to be Moore. I mean, still a lot to happen. Nothing's set in stone, Pete. But that's where I'm thinking it's going to go. Scott with the super chat. Thank you very much, Scott. Moves to the top of the line. Looks like Thornton has been the best deep ball guy. Kelsey and Rice over the middle guys with Allen's emergent. What is Worthy's role now? Kind of, I mean, the same as it's been. I mean, Worthy is your Z. He's the guy that you're gonna use in that spot. So you can put him in. He's gonna be in motion. I mean, you can do the same thing with Allen too. And that Z type of guy. I mean, there's going to be. I mean, everything's in the playbook for that guy. I mean, your Z can be somebody who challenges, especially if you've got Thornton and it comes out and is in the X on the other side. You can obviously run both those guys off of each other. They could both be running deep routes. You can use one as a decoy. Worthy, being fully healthy, should have all those mesh routes and crossers over the middle available to him. There's a lot of things you can do with Worthy. I mean, jet sweeps are going to be in the conversation. Allen does a few of those, but again, he's not the fastest guy in the world, so I would like some of those being reserved for Worthy, but you'll see. And bubble screens are in the Worthy playbook. Just basically, Worthy is the guy, a receiver that you would say he's the guy that you get the ball to him in space and let him work. Rashee, you can get the ball in space to him and he's just going to run through guys. I mean, he's the running back. I mean, he's going to run like a running back. I mean, that's what he kind of is. I mean, Worthy's the guy that can make people miss. So, that's, I mean, there's a place for that guy for sure. So Worthy can do a little bit of everything. I mean, he can be a deep ball guy. I do agree. I think Tyquan is the best deep ball threat on this team. He's got the speed, just like Worthy does. He's got a tracking ability that Worthy does not have yet, that I think is superior. So that's why we give the edge to Thornton. But at the same time, Worthy is a more accomplished route runner. When it comes to everything else in the route tree, Worthy's the better route runner at all of them than Taekwon. Taekwon's got him in the 9 routes, but 1 through 8, Worthy's your guy. And I think that you're going to see a lot more comfort level with Worthy than you did last year, because again, going back to that injury, he was never 100%. And I think you saw that in even the simplest of routes, but that guy has got the ability to get open and get the ball in space. And that's what you're hoping with Worthy that he can do. And like I said, Rice can do that too. He's just a little bit different. Rice is going to run through guys. Worthy's going to run around guys. That's about the best way that I can describe that they're 2 different styles. It's pretty simple. But thanks for the super chat, Scott. I truly appreciate that. And Nikki, do you ever post offensive plays on YouTube? And I don't really. I do. I mean, let's see. I don't really post offensive plays. There's a couple of reasons why. One is that we are not allowed to shoot 11 on 11, so I don't have any of those. That's why you're going to see them from fans in the stands are at this point not yet policed in Kansas City. I will say they're policing it in other markets, and Denver is one of them. So I would not be stunned if next year there was a crackdown on shooting, video at training camp, and from fans putting 11 on 11 out there on Twitter and all these different places. So can't shoot 11 on 11 as a reporter. We are restricted, so it's not allowed by us. And so then it's just 7 on 7, and I'm not impressed. I mean, 7 on 7 is eye candy. I mean, it serves its purpose, but it doesn't, to me, serve a good enough purpose for me to shoot it and everything like that. There are people who are better at shooting that than I am, and so there's going to be places where you can get that. Follow people like Nick Jacobs 71 on Twitter, Jacobs 71, I guess it is. That's probably Nick Jacobs. I can't remember now. I just remember the 71 part. Jacob 71. That's probably it. I could look it up, but I'm just being too lazy right now. And I'm sure that all of you who are on Twitter are following him. But to your point, Nick, I guess you're not on Twitter. So good question. I wonder I'm sure there are some accounts out there that do collect all that stuff. There might be ones that I just don't watch or send people to very often. So might be a little bit of my elitist media person right there showing. I apologize. I know Matt Foster. I don't know if he ends up putting a lot of that from KSHB 41 on their YouTube account. That might be or Facebook. Facebook would be another place where I think that you could get that. I know you can get that from Nick on Facebook. Matt Foster, Mackenzie Nelson from 41 does that. A lot of the local media will have those on their Facebook accounts too, in addition to probably a few of them on Instagram as well. So, I mean, if you're on some of those other social platforms, Nikki, you could probably get them. I don't know the best places to get the offensive plays on YouTube, but check them out. If I find one, Nikki, I'll try and hook you up, but I don't really know off the top of my head. But that's why I don't really post any offensive plays, because if it's not 11 on 11, 7 on 7 doesn't really do it for me. Like I said, it's a tool, but I think it doesn't tell a whole picture. It doesn't tell a whole story. So to me, it's, like I said, it's a tool, but I don't think it's the best tool out there. And I'm not very good at shooting them, so you don't want me shooting a 7 on 7. Danny, say Cyrus running the jet sweep, not necessarily to perfection, but he was practicing it nonetheless. He doesn't seem like the guy for that. Chuckles thoughts. I'm glad you put the chuckles in there, because that was exactly where I was going to chuckle. Yeah, I mean, they've done it with him, and I'm with you again. Not necessarily best suited to his skill set. I think when you've seen it in practice, in training camp, I think they're just wanting to see what he can do and check it out a little bit. Maybe they'll give it a try at sometimes, because he's a sure-handed player. I mean, I'm not sure that I've seen a fumble from Cyrus Allen. I mean, there might have been one that I'm forgetting about and everything. But largely, I haven't seen him putting the football on the ground. I mean, he catches it well, so pretty sure-handed. That may be one of the reasons. And again, I feel like a couple of the times that we have seen some of those jet sweeps from Cyrus. There's some other eye candy in the play too. Like there's an option in the backfield. I think Cyrus had one. I think it was today, a jet sweep that I legitimately did not know where the ball was. Part of it was because Sam McDowell was standing in my way. But I'm kidding, Sam. Mostly, you are a better door than a window, though. But there was some eye candy on that play. Like there was I think Walker was in the backfield and Mahomes had to fake to him and then like fakes a throw. I mean, it was almost like a jet sweep off a RPO fake. And that's how I mean, I feel like most of the Cyrus Allen, jet sweeps or end arounds that I've seen at this point have been of that nature. There's some other eye candy in it. It's not just like Xavier Worthy. Hey, Xavier's going to go in motion. We're going to give it to him, and he's really fast. And let's see if he beats anybody. It can work, but it's. I will say this: I do prefer the Cyrus Allen jet sweep to the other jet sweep we saw today, which was the Jared Wiley jet sweep. Not my favorite jet sweep. So. Some of those views for Nikki from the new Highmark are terrible. Let's see what else. I'm reading some of the comments. You all crack me up as always. Oh, there's a great suggestion, Nikki. I hadn't seen that yet. Hadn't seen Brian tonight to help me, encourage people to hit the like button and everything. So I hope Brian's doing well. Chiefs 15. Are you concerned about linebacker depth? If I'm Brett Veach and Steve Spagnuolo, I'm a little concerned. I mean, I think they'll end up going thin there. I think just math-wise, you look at it. I mean, they don't have a ton of linebackers on the roster as it is, which will make Saturday pretty interesting. I'm not sure that there's a couple of guys who are going to get a lot of work. I don't think that Nick Bolton will play, and a good reason for that too. Nick banged up his knee today. It did not end up being as serious as it looked at first because it was on during early in the long drive period, and I don't know if I imagine that he probably hit his knee to somebody's helmet. What it looked like. But he was just down grabbing his right knee and it looked bad, but he got up and the athletic trainer came out and he's like, nah, I'm good. Got up and walked it off and ran the next play. And stayed out there for the long drive. So, Nick is tough, but after a moment like that, I don't need to see Nick Bolton on Saturday. The rest of the starters, you can set them out. So Drew Tranquill won't play, I'm certain, with the injury. So what's that leave you down to? You've got Cooper McDonald, you've got Jack Cochran. Jeff Boss is coming back from the injury. I think he's been full enough this week. And again, they're so shorthanded. I think Boss is a guy you want to get out there and get some snaps and play. So I think you will see him. Cole Christensen will be in the mix. And then you got Cam Arnold, whom I like, but the Chiefs don't seem to be giving some big opportunities to him. He's a tweener guy. He was a former safety at Boston College. They converted to a linebacker. Kind of maybe the linebacker version of Jaden Hicks. I mean, you could switch those two guys and they'd be about the same. Then there's Wesley Basaint from Miami. I'm not as enamored with him, but probably get a lot of time. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 linebackers that will probably play on Saturday to varying levels. It's a thin position, but again, I think, who's going to make this team? Nick Bolton, Drew Tranquill, Cooper McDonald, Jack Cochran, Jeff Bossa might be it. And then you're going to have practice squad. I would always bring back Cole Christensen for depth and special teams. I like Cam Arnold. Like I said, I don't see any evidence yet that the Chiefs and Brett Veach are on board with me on that one. So Um, can't say that. I mean, maybe they would end up keeping Bassane from just a athletic standpoint, but I'm not, like I said, not enamored with that. So probably wouldn't be the direction I go. But hey, I wouldn't have drafted Josh Simmons, so I am not necessarily the sharpest knife in the drawer. So, but I agree. I mean, it's the linebacker depth. I would be worried. I mean, I think they're going to be thin, and then they're one injury from being really really thin. I hope Nikki was making a suggestion of the Chiefs 15, so now I feel like maybe there was a question that I missed. StreamYard Daily does a pretty good the platform that I use does a really good job these days of trying to flag questions for you, even if they don't have question marks in them or anything. But because like Nikki, it even flagged yours. So. D Monet, you may have already touched on this, but wouldn't you say 51 of the spots are locked up and the final two basically coming down to Remigio, Watson, and Armstrong? I mean, in my right now, my roster projection that I've got, I mean, Armstrong is going to be definitely one of those spots. He's in that spot because I think Remigio is making this team. I would have Remigio on this team because I see no evidence to this point that Dave Toub is considering really anybody else to return kicks. There are some options to return kicks, but again, there's problems at all of them because, I mean, Brashard Smith looks like will be one of your returners for sure, and one of your two kick returners. Could Brashard Smith beat out Nico for punt return? Possibly. I still think that Dave Toub wants Nico back there. What Dave Toub would love to have is a sure-handed speedster at punt returner. He doesn't have one of those, so he's going to go with the guy that really I think just gives him the best return. And by that, I mean, I'm talking about the guy who is going to cause, in his mind, the fewest negative plays. That's Nico. Nico's not going to, they feel like Nico's not going to put the ball on the ground. He's going to get them some consistency, might not have the electric returns, but hey, we've seen, I mean, we haven't seen Nico take one all the way back for a touchdown, although I think he had one I feel like he had one in the preseason that may have gotten called back on a penalty. But he's had some big returns. He's just not a likely home run hitter in that spot. He's just a reliable, steady hitter in that spot. But again, that's what Dave Toub would rather have than somebody who's going to risk putting the ball on the ground. So I've got Nico at like 90% to make this roster. Watson, I mean, he would not be on the bubble for me. But, where I would, like swap out somebody right there, Tyreek Smith from as a defensive end, like as a fifth defensive end would be in that spot. We'll see if anybody at defensive tackle. Right now, I think there's 4 tackles that, make this team. Is there a fifth one that can figure into that? Might be difficult there. Let's see. I mean, safety. Xavier Wampa is in that conversation. So I've got 3 spots open at the end about, and I mean, and right now I would probably say in those final 3 spots, I would end up having probably Wampa. I would have Armstrong potentially and Tyreek Smith. Now, if I decide to put like Garrett Nussmeier on the then that somebody's got to go. One of those 3 is going to be going. Like I said, the other problem too, if you don't have Nico on this team, and you're going with Brashard Smith as your punt returner, okay, well, who's going to return kicks for him? Because if it's Emmett Johnson, well, you can't have 5 running backs active on game day. I mean, at this point, you're talking about already having 4 with Walker, DeMercado, Brashard. I guess those are your 3, and then you would have to have like Johnson as your 4th running back. You can't have 4 running backs active. That's just that math does not compute. I mean, having 4 running backs active on game day is not good use of math. I mean, especially if 2 of them largely are just returners, and Emmett Johnson might not be your best kick returner. again, a lot of other guys that they're looking at for kick returner are not necessarily guys who are going to be making this team. I mean, Jimmy Holiday's in that conversation, Jason Brownlee, Jacob DeJesus, and DeJesus is probably the best of the group. But again, if, is your potentially your kick returners DeJesus and Brashard Smith? Maybe I could see that. But again, I think Dave Toub would have to see a lot before he would start pounding the table for DeJesus over Nico. But again, DeJesus is a guy I could absolutely see on the practice squad, and maybe that's a development spot where maybe he can eventually, win that kick returner job. So there's some options, but again, it's a matter of just how you build your 53. And I'll tell you this: I mean, if you go to training camp, just watch who gets reps with the ones, and specifically at wide receiver. Nico gets reps. Andrew Armstrong gets reps. Nobody else. I mean, you really don't see. I don't know that I've necessarily seen Jacob DeJesus get a rep with the ones. That's the challenge you got to break through. And same thing, true at running back. I mean, Emmett Johnson, like I said, is the fourth running back on this team. He'd have been the best running back on this team last year. It's just, timing and depth wise. But the Chiefs, I like Emmett Johnson. I mean, I think he's making this team. I don't think there's any doubt about that. They don't want to risk losing this guy. Definitely need him for depth, but it's just a matter of you can't have four running backs active on game day. That just does not compute. And I think you definitely want DeMarcado for the different things that he can do. And he's a special teams player in a different way. And Brashard Smith is going to be one of your returners, and he's going to be able to do some things too. But a lot of you're seeing Nico get more opportunities with the ones that he's had in the past, and I think that some of that is Chad O'Shea genuinely likes Nico, but I think it's also Chad O'Shea knows that Nico is making this team more than likely, and he's going to figure out how to use him. No, then Nikki, that's a great point. I've seen some other people say similar things. That hey, Rashee said the right things. Now it's a matter of doing the right things and doing what you say and not making mistakes again. Rebecca, I love this question. Oh man, what a great question. Why do you think we haven't had a Kelsey media availability yet? I'm going to be nice and not say my real reason why. It is nothing nefarious, nothing like that. It is just simply the path of least resistance, I would say, is probably why we have not heard from Travis Kelce yet. Generally, first step is asking Travis Kelce to do his media. And I mean, it's been well. I mean, there are no rules for training camp other than the expectation that your star player should be available at least once, your quarterback should be regularly available. And that one actually might be a rule in there, your quarterback does have to be available like once a week or so. But everybody should be available at some point by request. Well, we're going to get Travis Kelce once. Maybe Wednesday, Rebecca. So, I mean, that will happen. There's nothing nefarious about it. It's just that you got to ask Travis, and hasn't been for lack of lobbying on our part. We have been trying to. We're asked like once a week about who do you want this week, and the text message always has Rashee Rice and Travis Kelce in it. And we got Rice. I think we're going to get Kelce this week too. Hoping we also get to hear from EB on Wednesday. That would be great. So I'm hoping that's going to work out. It sounds like it. So let's root for that. But yeah, we're going to get him once during camp. We've accepted that. It's going to happen. We're supposed to get him potentially twice a week during the NFL season because the collective bargaining agreement that the players have says that players should be available once per week, bare minimum, either in the locker room or at a podium. And then 2, every player should be available post-game. Well, we know that for various reasons that Travis Kelce is not going to be available 34 times this year. We take the opportunities that we get. We just demand more of them and we never get them, but that's just my little rant there, Rebecca. So I can't. This is my favorite question of the night, because it's just I'm glad somebody else out there notices, and I'm glad someone cares. At least I think you do, Rebecca. I mean, maybe you're just saying like, hey, let's just set up Matt for going off on a rant. You've been around long enough that I think you know me well enough now that you know how to set me off. So I appreciate that. Those are the little things that I truly appreciate about the community, is that those of you who've been around for a while know how to push my buttons, and I really, really like that. And that's Travis Kelce's media availability schedule is one of my hottest of hot buttons. So I'm done. Hey, Kyle, I love me some from Chew Godric. I really hope that he can continue to keep it going. He's a good dude, and it's a good story too. So even if it's on the practice squad, I hope his NFL story continues. John, do you think Andy has a few trick plays for Fields? Do you see him having a few in a regular season game? That's an interesting one, because one of the first things that Andy Reid said when they brought in Justin Fields is that this isn't just a gadget guy, which certainly opened the idea to the possibility that he is a gadget guy. He's just not only a gadget guy. So yeah, I mean, I do. I mean, I think that I wouldn't mind seeing, and I think they could absolutely use him in some short yardage situations out of the backfield. I think there's some really clever ways that they could use him with just his legs. I mean, again, not saying that you can't, fake it. Hey, if the defense sees Justin Fields coming in for a play, they're going to expect him to run the football. So does that open up the passing game a little bit and you could play against type? Yeah, I think you could. The one thing I'm terrified, and I don't think that the Chiefs are going to do this season, but you could end up seeing it, would be that, one of these plays where you bring in Justin Fields and Patrick Mahomes splits out as a wide receiver. Nobody needs to see that this year. Just that needs to go in the trash bin for at least a year. You don't need to do that. But I think there are. I mean, like I said, I think there's some really interesting short yardage things that they could do with Justin Fields if they wanted to. They could even just randomly at midfield, 1st and 10 or something. They could design some things for Justin Fields, see if the defense is paying attention, and they could take advantage of that. Because I've been saying this for a while. I mean, I feel like that there's some Alex Smith plays that they could drag out for Justin Fields that I think would be really easy to install and would work well for him. We haven't seen a ton, and we haven't really seen any instance of Justin Fields really running the first team offense. So I don't know if we're going to get any opportunities to see that. Maybe we will before one of these preseason games. When they want to do a little bit more game planning. There's going to be zero game planning for the Rams. That's why I have such low expectations for this game. And one reason why I believe that there's not going to be a lot of starters that are going to play this game, because, I mean, Justin Fields generally doesn't take any snaps with the starters. So putting Justin Fields out there to play with the ones, I mean, it would be like, hey, Creed, nice to meet you. I mean, it's not that bad, but literally, I mean, yes, go back to, I know you can go back to OTAs and everything like that when Mahomes was out and they got some experience, yes. But during training camp, no, I mean, that really hasn't been there. So I haven't seen it yet. But no, I mean, John, I think you absolutely, I think they have some things up their sleeve. I think you're going to see it at some point. You reminded me, John, you had a question earlier that I accidentally clicked on and grayed out, and so I then missed it when I came back. So let's go back to that. Do you think the Chiefs will require PSLs for the new stadium? Hearing Denver going in that direction. I know that's the rumor du jour, and there's been a lot of speculation that the Chiefs are going to go in that direction, that they're going to have PSLs. There has been nothing set in stone to my knowledge. It certainly sounds like it's still in the conversation. And could there be a blend? Could they end up doing some PSLs and some not? Possibly. I'll be interested to see. I mean, this will come up. I mean, we continue to check in with Mark and with Clark when we get availabilities and everything to see if they've made some decisions about that. and on PSLs yet. So far, nothing as of yet. I mean, it is the way that the NFL is going, and I mean, PSL's been around for a long, long time. I mean, I think the Rams were the first ones in St. Louis to do PSLs, and that was 40 years ago. So it's not like they're brand new, but it would be frustrating to see in Kansas City, because I think that obviously that just prices a lot of fans out of the market, and it certainly encourages resellers, which I know that the NFL is also has a love-hate relationship with. I think they love resellers. They just want to be the only reseller is the problem. So how they make that all work out, I think will be interesting. But again, I mean, I don't like PSLs for the most part, because exactly that. I think they price fans out. And let's face it, I mean, they're going to have to try and price some fans out, because it sounds like the new stadium is going to seat fewer people than Arrowhead does. And I get they're not selling 76,000 season tickets these days. So it's not a complete sellout from that standpoint. So they've got room to do that, but we'll see, John. It's still up in the air. It could still happen. Maybe it won't happen. Maybe it'll be a mixture. I'm against them. I hope they don't go that route. Let's see what else we got going on. Will I ever do a 3-hour Q&A? Didn't we do one a couple of weeks ago? Someone will have to help me out here. I think we actually hit the 3-hour mark a couple of weeks ago. Maybe I'm just hallucinating. Wouldn't be the first time, but hey, I know I talk a long time, and I'm committed to answering every question that comes along if I can. I try to never skip anything. If I skip a question, it is a total accident. Even if it's a question I don't like, I will at least acknowledge it. As long as it's clean, that's the only reason I would ever intentionally skip a question, is if because I don't want to run afoul of the powers of that be. So if it's not clean, it's not going to be put up on the screen. So Jimmy's, I'm looking at you. I'm just kidding, mostly. Danny, anything that you have seen in practice that you're not allowed to talk about or film that other teams aren't supposed to know? And will you risk your job to tell me? I won't tell anybody. Technically speaking, I'm not going to tell you what it was. I've told you something tonight and answered one of the questions that, by the letter of the reporting rules that the Chiefs have for their practices, I probably shouldn't have said. So I'll let you all just, play Easter egg to see if, you remember what that was, or if you want to go back and listen and watch and see if you can figure out what it was. But I mean, in general, what are we not supposed to talk about? What are the, and I hate to say not supposed to talk about, because technically speaking, it's the teams are allowed to have some rules specifically for practices, even open practices that are open to the public. They're allowed to have certain guidelines. There's some things that they can't prohibit. They can't prohibit is every team in the league's got to allow you to talk about highlights, big plays, things of this nature. They don't have to allow you to talk about depth charts. The Chiefs request and on their guideline, on their reporting guidelines, is that they want to embargo. They prefer to embargo personnel and packages and everything. So they don't want that. So they don't want you to say, okay, well, hey, the Chiefs went. I can say that the Chiefs went 3 tight ends. I can say, oh, there's a little 21 personnel for you. 2 running backs and a tight end and 2 wide receivers. I can say that. But I can't. I'm not supposed to technically say, like, the Chiefs went 21 personnel, and here are the 5 guys that they had out there at skill positions. We all probably skirt that a little bit, and then sometimes the Chiefs skirt it a little bit themselves with the things that they put out there. And once the Chiefs put anything out there, it's pretty much fair game. So there's some great, and I'll give the Chiefs credits for as much as I sometimes give them a hard time, and usually when I'm giving them a hard time, I'm just kidding or being facetious, but except when it comes to Travis Kelce media availabilities. But they're usually very fair with us for the most part. I probably count on one hand for sure the number of times that I've ever had anybody in the 11 years now. This is my 11th season, all these years of covering the Chiefs, that I've ever had them say anything about my reporting. You can't say that, or that's over the line, and and everything like that. And like I said, I mean that's hasn't happened for a long time, so that's good too. So then again, there is the journalist in me that sometimes feels like if I'm not getting in trouble, then maybe I'm not doing my job. But I try not to be that guy. I just try to be the person that shows up and does their work and tries to keep everybody up to date and show you what's going on and tell you the stories behind what's happening and everything. And there you go. What I try. D Monet, I love that username, by the way. Best guess at who all is on IR or PUP heading into week 1. Norman Lott, Delane, Snead. I mean, the Chiefs are still believing that Norman Lott is going to be active, at least on the active roster in week 1. I will, as Patrick Mahomes would say, I'll believe it when I see it. I'm not convinced of that. I mean, we are here almost to the first preseason game, and he has not yet cleared physically. We are, as much as I say, hey, we're still a month away from the season. I mean, if it's a month away from the season and you have not been physically cleared yet, you're getting a little close. But Chiefs seem to be pretty confident that he's going to be ready week 1. So I'm just going to be cautious and say I think Norman Lott's 50-50 to be on the PUP list in week 1. He's the only one that would be eligible for the PUP list. Nick is calling me. Doesn't Nick know that at 9:08 I am going to be on the live stream? Oh, Nick, I didn't mean to answer you, but I am on the live stream right now. So I guess if you wanted to talk to me there, you could. But I also just put you on speakerphone, so you may want to just hang up on me. I don't know. I'm a terrible, terrible friend.
It's fine. When you get done, text me. My mom's hot water going out.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Bye.
Thanks, sir.
Well, so there you go. We'll take care of that. Take care of that shortly. I'm a terrible, terrible person. Okay, so Delane and Snead. I don't know what to make of Snead. I mean, I think this is going to be just par for the course. I mean, I think he's going to be kind of in and out. I mean, this knee, you never know what it's going to do. Delane, if Delane's not ready in week 1, there's going to be some concerns and some issues and everything. So, yeah. I mean, other than that, the Chiefs are, I mean, anything else, the Chiefs are pretending that at this point, at least, that there's nothing significant, nothing serious. So they're not expecting anybody else. I mean, the only one I would really put a pin in for me is, Jimmy Holiday going off today. We'll see how serious that is, but see if there's anything else that popped up today. I was the only one that looked serious today, just because he did go off on a cart in the front seat. But still left early on a cart, so those are always questionable. But right now, I mean, knock on wood for the Chiefs, they don't at this point seem to have any serious issues. So I'm like I said, at this point, I would expect just the one, and they have a couple of guys obviously already on IR with John Michael and oh my goodness, I always Gillenborg. Thank you very much. And with Ethan Downs, and doesn't sound like either one of those are going to be designated to return. So that's what you got there. Universal Groove Music. How are the Chiefs linebackers looking? Are we looking at a major drop off with the loss of Chanel? You're looking at a drop off. I guess we'll see how major it is. I mean, Leo carved himself out a really, really nice role for himself and played that role really, really well. You're not going to replace Leo with one player. I think that it certainly looks like, from watching what the Chiefs are doing right now, you would say that either they are going to split the role between Jack Cochran and Cooper McDonald, or those two are simply in competition to see who is going to take the majority of that role. I don't really see a lot of it factoring in with Jeff Bossa, but there might be. I mean, I believe there have been some looks where he's been out there with Drew Tranquil and Nick Bolton. So that would be, the one kind of interesting nugget to it. But here's the other thing I say is that, remember, Leo only played about 50% of the snaps. So 50% of the time, the Chiefs were taking Leo off the field to put an extra defensive back on the field, at least a nickel or even a dime. And that I can see happening more, where the Chiefs are taking a linebacker off and putting a safety in. And that gives them a lot of flexibility, because if they do that, and with their 3 safety looks, I mean, one, it makes it a little bit easier to play some cover 2 shell if you need to, even cover 2 man. I mean, whatever it is. I like Alohi Gilman, and was having this conversation with someone earlier. I don't know how much he can play single high safety by himself. I mean, I think you probably need some 2-man coverages back there, at least that option. So that's why I think that the Chiefs might favor an extra safety at times. They're also going to favor that because, I mean, at this point, all the evidence would point towards Chris Roland Wallace being their slot corner. So he's a safety. He's going to come in, and that's automatically going to, give you a nickel look there with 3 safeties on the field. So a little bit different than what they did with Connor last year, but same type of concept. So there's that. I think there's also some possibilities, like I said, whomever makes the team with between Hicks and Wampa, and I think both those guys may end up making this team. Hey, there may even be some, there might be, let's just say there might be some dime looks where you even got like 4 safeties on the field and just 2 corners. I mean, and here's the thing is that, I mean, Dave Merritt and Steve Spagnuolo are mad scientists. They are going to test a lot of different coverages and see what works. There may be some things that we see that don't work. But we'll see what happens. But yeah, I do. I know. And here's a terrible thing. I didn't really answer your question specifically about the linebackers, and we talked about it a little bit earlier. But I mean, Bolton, it's fine. I'm a big Nick Bolton fan, so I mean, there's no problems there. Nick looks like Nick. Tranquill, back injuries got to worry you a little bit. He's been dealing with that now on and off for the last couple of years. So it's always going to be a concern for an older player, is a back injury. Bossa, at least this season, looks better, ready to step in and fill in for Tranquill if you need him, which, I mean, that's what he's best suited for. So I think, but he's the only one. I mean, he's the only one that I would really feel good about, as a weak side linebacker. Not that Cochran can't do it, not that McDonald couldn't do it, but they're not, Tranquill types. I mean, you would be playing a different game if you bring in one of those guys. Whereas, I mean, at least Boss is the same type of species, if you will, as Drew Tranquill. I mean, he's got some skill, he's got speed, he's a guy that can cover a lot of ground, and that's what you need on the weak side. I mean, that's a player who gets left on an island a lot of times, covering a big piece of ground. Boss is that kind of guy that can do that. McDonald and Cochran, I mean, strength and size is more their game, and that's why they can handle maybe some of the other aspects of the Leo game, but also not going to be a couple of guys that you're necessarily putting on the ball. I think McDonald can do that. Not necessarily in his wheelhouse, but and then after that, I mean, after year 5, it really kind of drops off. I mean, there are some concerns there. So I could see maybe the Chiefs will be going through cuts and roster cuts and everything like that to maybe fill out the practice squad with a linebacker or 2, because I do think they're going to go light there on the 53. I think they're just going to carry 5 linebackers and go from there and see what happens. Eric, so sorry I missed this earlier. You had the super chat. I apologize for not getting to it earlier. Why do you think more at right tackle will be a problem? I really don't think it would be a problem. I mean, I think Jalen Moore is a perfectly fine, tackle. I think he's above replacement level. I mean, I think, I know some people have concerns about, hey, the Chiefs paid a lot for him. Maybe they overpaid for a tackle that it could end up being a backup for his 2 seasons here in Kansas City. I mean, that doesn't bother me at all. I mean, I feel like you've gotten your value to a large degree out of Jalen Moore. I mean, I'm assuming he's going to play some this year. And if he starts this year, then you've definitely gotten your value out of Jalen Moore. I don't think he's a bad player. I think he's fine at right tackle. I mean, is he an all-pro? No, but you can't have all pros at all 4 spots most of the time. I mean, you're not the 2003 Chiefs or anything with, Willie Roaf and Will Shields and like 3 Hall of Famers, but I've got no problems with Moore. I do think, like I said, I mean, if he and Benson are close enough that it becomes a tie, I do think it makes a lot more sense for Benson to be your right tackle, because that's the guy that, is your guy. You've got 4 years of development with him, and team control that you can have, and there's more future in Khalil Benson there for you. And on top of that, Jalen Moore has been doing this entire career, coming off the bench playing. And so if you've got an injury, you're going to have injuries. Jalen Moore is well equipped to come in and do that. And once again, I mean, he could play guard if he had to. Once again, the fact that the Chiefs are mixing in Benson at guard and not doing that with Jalen Moore tells me that they're looking at Benson as being more of a utility player this year. And maybe that's where they're tipping their hand a little bit about where they're going to go, but we don't know for sure. But honestly, right now, Eric, I would not have a problem with either one of those guys at right tackle. That said, that we haven't seen Khalil Benson in a game, so we don't know how he's going to perform. That's his last test. Let's get that out of the way and see how he does. But I mean, if Jalen Moore is your fallback, I'm perfectly fine with that. I don't think that's a problem for the Chiefs at all. So appreciate the super chat, Eric. Thank you. Bobby, thanks for popping in. Sorry, I doubt you're still around for the question. You're a busy guy, but you are sticking around for the answer of this time. Okay, best game day meal. I mean, I'm assuming you're talking about at the stadium that you're given, because I mean, let's face it, Bobby. I mean, I am a free media meal guy. I mean, that's what we live for. So, I mean, I think probably surprisingly, okay. I mean, I guess I should just say at Arrowhead, I mean, my favorite meals are, okay, one, breakfast. So if they ever do breakfast for the noon games, which are not enough noon games, but when the Chiefs do breakfast for noon games, A+. That's the best. Otherwise, barbecue. I mean, can't go wrong with barbecue. That's the best. That's obviously for lunch or dinner. That's great. I'm trying to think if there's been some others that have been winners. I mean, they do a pretty decent job. I'm not enamored with the halftime food at Arrowhead, because it's mainly, they do mix it up sometimes. They have like bringing some burnt ends, which the burnt ends are pretty freaking cool. But usually it's hot dogs and chicken tenders, and I'm just not a huge fan anymore of either one of those. So it's not my favorite. I usually end up eating popcorn at halftime, and so that's my deal. I will say this, Bobby. I mean, if you go around the league, and I haven't been to every stadium, but the Patriots do pregame meal like nobody. I mean, you have the clam chowder. They got food on both floors of I mean, they've got like stations going on. That's tremendous. I'm a big fan of the Patriots and what they do with the pregame meal. Just a big fan in general of everything that's available in Dallas. Dallas is some great stuff. They have the ice cream. They had, at least the last time I was there, they had ice cream. They had unlimited, it was Bluebell ice cream. They had, an unlimited supply of peanut butter cups, and they had, endless Dr. Pepper. So I could live at AT&T Stadium for the rest of my natural life and be just fine. Tell you what, though, I mean, as just like a one standalone meal, best one I've ever had. A few years ago, when the Chiefs were in Detroit, and this was probably, was it the opener, or no, it wasn't the opener. It was like September, week 2, week 3, in 2019. In that crazy game that I think Bashad Breeland picked up the fumble and ran it back like 99 yards. They catered some local Detroit barbecue in there, and dang, that stuff was good. I give them credit for that one. And best post game, at least last time I was there, and they've done it every time I've been there. Always pizza in Denver, and that's the best post game meals. Some places do sandwiches. Chiefs don't do a post game meal, so I mean, I get it. There's budgets and everything like that. So, and the Chiefs, generally speaking, are, hey, welcome to Arrowhead. We hope you enjoyed the game. Please clean up after yourself and leave. So that's a perfectly acceptable stance to have. So there's my breakdown, Bobby, on game day meals. I know you only asked for pregame, but I went whole hog there. And yes, I mean, if you ever served a whole hog for a pregame meal, I would be all over that. Kyle, thank you very much for the super chat. Very kind of you. The Benson hype train is wild. I don't fully understand it based on the reps I've seen. Why doesn't Essa get any pub for right tackle? He's looked better, in my opinion. I mean, it is a complete body of work. So, I mean, it's going to depend on which reps you see. I mean, and I don't know. I mean, I don't think there's anybody out there that's really just specifically targeting Khalil Benson and saying, okay, well, here's his terrible reps and aren't showing the good ones. He's hitting. I mean, he has hit and miss. I mean, Jalen Moore's hit and miss. Essa plays hit and miss. It's up and down. I mean, is Benson 100%, out of the box, ready to play guy? No. I mean, he's got some things to figure out and some work to do. I mean, you're right. I mean, the hype has been pretty big, but the hype, I think, has to be put into relationship of who he is and what he's done. The hype is that this is a guy that the entire league passed on multiple times. They passed on him in the draft. The NFL collectively signed about 450 college free agents, and he wasn't one of them either. He had to come in here on a tryout basis, and here he is pushing for a starting job. That's crazy, and that's the reason for the hype train. That alone is the biggest behind the hype train. The other part of it is that I think that I mean, the Chiefs do. I mean, they feel like he's past Essa. I mean, at least what they have seen, and I think that goes on two fronts. One, they like what he's done at tackle, but again, I mean, he's a right tackle. Pole is somebody more comfortable with at left tackle. So let's say you went into the season. Let's say Jalen Moore is your right tackle. If you had to play without Josh Simmons, I'm pretty sure Essa Pole is coming in there. That's not Khalil Benson's job. If Benson is your backup and you had to play without Trey Smith, I think Khalil Benson's coming. May be your option there. Doesn't necessarily mean that if you had to play without Kingsley, that he's the option there. That might be Mike Caliendo. It could be Hunter Norzad. I mean, I know if you had to play without Creed Humphrey, that'll be Hunter Norzad. That'll be the guy there. So, I mean, it's a complicated offensive line. And when I say, that he's past Essa, I don't get the sense that it's like, okay, he's past Essa and that's just where Essa play is now. He is now permanently behind Khalil Benson. No, I mean, he can play his way back. He can figure things out. He can improve things. I mean, it's that thing's going to happen. So, and I think once again, it depends on the job. I mean, I think, again, the Chiefs view Pole as a better left tackle than Benson is, and they view Benson as a better right tackle than Pole is. So there's not an easy answer there, but I get having some questions about the Benson hype train. And again, I say you have to put it into context. And if you're coming away from the Benson hype train thinking, oh, hey, the Chiefs just found a first round right tackle in Khalil Benson, I mean, we don't know that. That's not anywhere close to what we're really talking about right now. At this point, we're just talking about this guy is Rudy. If Rudy, wasn't later, charged with financial crimes. I mean, Khalil Benson is Rudy. This is a Rudy story. I mean, this is the thing that movies are about. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, Khalil Benson just was completely and totally ignored and overlooked by the NFL, and here he is. It's a cool story. But it doesn't mean also that it's going to be a fairy tale. It doesn't mean it's going to end up with him starting at right tackle this year. Maybe he does eventually. Who knows? But there's still a long way for the story to go. So that's the only thing I do emphasize with the hype train is that the story's not over. We need to see this dude play some games and then see what happens. Appreciate the super chat. That was great. I appreciate that. D Monet, should Veach consider trading Fields ahead of roster cuts if Mahomes continues to trend towards a week 1 start? Keeping 3 QBs takes away a valuable roster spot. I mean, and the preseason games will determine a little bit of this too. But I mean, remember, Nussmeier was almost Mr. Irrelevant. I mean, the Chiefs could very well have signed him as an undrafted free agent. He was a late 7th round pick. we're not talking about a guy that, went in the second round. I mean, the entire NFL passed on this guy. So I still think that, unless he just goes out and lights up the preseason, I think there's a better than average chance that you could sneak him onto the practice squad. I mean, he may make it impossible for you to do that. He may make it so that there's enough experience there that teams are going to say, okay, well, we saw this tape. He's good enough for us to take a chance on and stash him on the active roster. And they're willing to, to keep a spot for him. The Chiefs may feel that way too. I mean, they feel like that they have to, that they really like this guy. I don't sense that it's written in stone yet. I mean, they're going back and forth on that one. They're not going to probably make that decision until the very, very end. I can't imagine the Chiefs considering trading Fields though, because Nussmeier is, I still say, a long way away from winning football games in the NFL. If you needed to win a game right now, I think you game plan around the strengths of Justin Fields, because I think that's going to give you a better chance to win. And then the Chiefs, let's face it, that second quarterback position, it's got a lot of duties. I mean, one is that they like for that second quarterback to be a sounding board for Mahomes. I think Fields is less experienced than the other guys that they've had there, so that may be less of a need than they've had in the past. And obviously they've got some other experience on the coaching staff that maybe can help Mahomes in those ways, so it's not as important to them. But the other ability is to manage the show and keep it going for a week or two if you had to play without Mahomes. And again, if you're a team like the Chiefs, you don't want to just throw in the towel. I mean, you want to say that you're going to have a chance to win these games. I mean, the Chiefs are not the Colts with Peyton Manning. They're not just going to give up if they don't have Patrick Mahomes and just send out Jim Sorgi out there to get his brains crashed in. They're going to try and win. I mean, they've always done that with their backups. And not saying that you'd be giving up with Garrett Nussmeier, but this point in their careers, I'm with Andy. I think I would be with Andy Reid and Brett Veach, and that they would say, hey, Fields gives you the better chance to win a game right now. So let's see. I should speed things up because I am really trying to challenge that 3-hour thing. So I got to get up early in the morning. I got to go to training camp, for crying out loud. Jimmy's, how much 13 formations have you seen and what does it look like? I mean, that's actually almost a definition of a question, trying to get me into trouble, Jimmy's. Generically speaking, just so I won't get into trouble. And yeah, who's doing what? I'll say this. I mean, you can kind of put the math together here. If the Chiefs are running 13 personnel with 3 tight ends, and I'm saying that Travis Kelce, Noah Gray, and Jared Wiley are locks for the roster, and Jake Breeningstool is on the bubble, you could answer a lot of your questions right there about what it looks like. I think it looks good. Honestly, again, I will go back and say that, the Chiefs, without also giving it too much away, will say that the Chiefs have done some jumbo sets with some 6 offensive linemen, just like they did last year. I kind of like that better than the 13 personnel look, but it's not been looking bad, Jimmy's. I mean, I still say that I think that their best formations this year are going to be when they've got some running backs on the field and that direction, but 13 personnel. I mean, that Andy Reid's that's his jam. I mean, it's what he does. So it might look even better in the regular season than it does in training camp. So you don't want to give everything away. Mizzou 19. I saw Taekwon spoke with Steve Smith last week, but do you know if X did? I don't know for sure. I imagine he did, though. I imagine everybody did if they had the chance. Last year, Steve had some tough but fair criticism on his channel about Worthy and said he'd love the chat, but X gave him the cold shoulder. I mean, maybe he did. I mean, I didn't see anything. I mean, keeping track of everything is hard, so I can't say that I see everything that happens on the field. I think I'm like the guy who knows Marcus Kemp the best, and I think I was apparently the last person to know that he was, after coaching this year. I got to talk to him guess that was yesterday, so it was good to, it was good to catch up with Marcus. But I didn't see it. I didn't see if X talked to Steve or anything like that. I mean, hey, if somebody picks on you and everything like that, and you know, I mean, I would talk to him if I were X and everything like that. But if feelings were hurt or he felt like he wasn't being fair to him, I mean, I'm not going to blame him. So, but again, your mileage may vary. Players do different things for different reasons, different strokes for different folks. Chief for 65 TPT. Maybe the Chiefs keep an extra wide receiver this year. I mean, I will ask this: what is an extra wide receiver for the Chiefs? Because I mean, they had 7 wide receivers at one point, a couple of points the last few years. So, is 8 wide receivers? 8 wide receivers is too many. I think they're gonna. I would think that the Chiefs are almost certainly going to keep 6. I mean, and that would be with Nico being one of those returners. I mean, granted, maybe Nico gets beat out and it's another, but if everybody's healthy, Rice, Worthy, Tyquan, Cyrus, Jalen Royals, Nico. I mean, Andrew Armstrong would be the next guy for me, and I think you can probably get Armstrong onto the practice squad. I mean, again, you know, we're arguing over probably, you know, keeping 4 number 5 guys. You know, Royals is kind of in that ballpark. I'd say he's kind of a 4th or a 5th option at this point. Nico is kind of a 5th option at this point. Armstrong would be a 5th option. Not that guys can't play themselves up, and you know, maybe Armstrong plays well enough that eventually you're like, hey, no, this guy should be like your 4. Cyrus is playing well enough to be a 3 right now. I mean, that's what you kind of view Tyquan as a 3. Worthy's your 2. Your Bryce is your 1. I mean, I don't. And we're not talking about, you know, hey, your 7th receiver is good enough, is just as good as Xavier Worthy. That's not the case. So once you get to the Armstrong level, I mean, hey, Jimmy Holiday has moments. Jason Brownlee made this team last year. I think the fact that, you know, we're honestly, and this is something I was having a conversation with the other day, the fact that Jason Brownlee made this roster last year, and I think is substantially the same player, just as good as he was last year. And we're not talking about Jason Brownlee really being in the race for a spot on this roster. I think says a lot, at least about the back end of this wide receiver depth, and that it's better than it was a year ago. So, I mean, I don't see them keeping any more than 7. I think they will probably keep 6, but you know, they could be on the cusp of 7 possibly. But then with a couple of people on the practice squad. Brian, I saw you popped in, and you're gonna be here for a little bit. So thank you for reminding everyone to hit the like button. We need you for that. That's your thing, man. So I appreciate you, Brian. I hope you're doing well. Hope you're feeling better. John, is there anything going on behind the scenes to support the Devi family? I was a little disappointed with how Andy handled the statement last week. It seemed to lack empathy. I know what you were talking about, and you know, and honestly, I think he meant to say something on that first day, that Monday back, after we learned about the passing of Jordan Devi. But you know, that was also the same day that we got the news about Mia Bieniemy, and I think that there was 2 parts to that. You know, one was that Andy was not supposed to speak that day. He only spoke that day about and came in to only talk about Mia Bieniemy and Eric being away and everything like that. So it was a very last minute emergency thing. I got the impression, you know, from Andy, honestly, that he felt bad about not mentioning Jordan and his passing that day. I haven't heard about anything behind the scenes, but it would not surprise me if the Chiefs or Andy Reid personally and his family had reached out to the Devi family in some way. You know, the Jordan was also a member of the Church of Latter-day Saints, and obviously Andy Reid has pretty close connection to players who share that faith with him. So wouldn't surprise me if he has reached out. And usually if the Chiefs are going to do those kinds of things, they keep them fairly private. I would respect that and everything. I mean, we could certainly reach out to the Debbie family and see if the Chiefs have done anything. But unless the Debbie family reached out to me, I would probably be a little uncomfortable with that. I mean, to me, it's a private thing for the family, and a very, very difficult situation. I didn't know Jordan well. I mean, I spoke to him a number of times. And I said, like, a couple of weeks ago when he passed that that game against Cincinnati when he tore his pectoral muscle and the Chiefs he started that game because the Chiefs had some injury problems, and they didn't have any really one behind him. And Jordan played in that game. And, this is the Bengals when, hey, their front four was fierce. And he held his own. I mean, that dude played like 3/4 of the game with a torn pec that then he underwent surgery for and missed the rest of the season. He played 3/4 of the game with that thing and more than held his own. I mean, he played well, and he basically did it with one arm. Just incredible. I can assure you, I mean, and I'm not here to be Andy Reid's PR guy or explain anything, but I certainly got the impression that he felt very badly about not mentioning Jordan that day. I think it just obviously he was overcome with, I think, a lot of emotions with what had happened with Mia and what was happening with Eric, and that was entirely how it happened. So I hope, lack of a better word, I hope that was the case. I think that probably was the case. And like I said, it wouldn't surprise me if the Chiefs were doing something behind the scenes, but I haven't heard, and it's not the kind of thing I'd poke around and try to find out or anything. Jimmy's, how can the team justify talking coach speak about special teams being a third and then never draft a kick return punt returner? Well, they did draft Sky Moore, even though he'd never returned, kicks or punts and everything, and decided to let him do that. In theory, I mean, no, I'm not going to give him credit for this one, because in theory, hey, they drafted Xavier Worthy with the idea that he could return kicks and punts, but mostly punts. But you don't take a first-round receiver and then have him return punts. I mean, normally, you don't want to expose that guy. It's a legitimate question. I mean, they have not put a lot of resources and draft resources over. The last guy that they really drafted, outside of Sky, I'm trying to think about the last guy that they drafted that returned kicks. Might have been Tremon Smith. Now, that one they did really good on, because that dude's still returning kicks. I think they drafted that guy, was it 2017? This guy's in like year 10 of returning kicks in the NFL. So they did okay on that one. Just haven't done a lot since then. They have drafted guys with the plan. They did think, Cyrus Allen did return like all of 12 kicks, and Cyrus Allen was seriously going to be in the conversation for a kick returner this year, maybe even punt returner. His performance on offense has made that, no, they are not going down that road. So that's the most recent. They did even, like I said, even though he didn't have a ton of experience, they did consider that. I think, again, a part of it is, I haven't looked around a lot of other teams and what they do, but I look at a lot of the college teams, and you have either it seems like a lot of return specialists, or in college they still put guys on kick and punt returns that have no business end up doing that at the NFL level. I'm a Mizzou guy. Mizzou had Luther Burden returning punts. You'd be crazy to put Luther Burden out to returning punts in the NFL. Maybe he has been returning punts for the Bears. I don't know, but I wouldn't put him out there. You're not going to put your starting receivers out there returning punts. So I think it's a little bit of that. Colleges are going to put their starters out there to do that, and it may just be the kind of, I was having this conversation about fullbacks the other day with Seren Petro, and part of the reason why there's not any fullbacks in the NFL is because not any fullbacks at the college level anymore. They're just phasing them out, and what you need is, and this is the thing. It just seems like every year you look through it, and I'm looking for mid-round, day 3 draft picks that are returners who have some decent skills otherwise. And because teams do draft, here's the reality: teams do draft special teams players all the time. They just play other positions. I mean, the Chiefs have drafted, every year, the Chiefs, when they're drafting defensive players for the most part, when they're drafting guys in the 5th, 6th, and 7th rounds, it's with the idea is like, hey, you know what? If this guy becomes a nice defensive player, great. But most important thing is that he's a four-phase special teams guy. That's what they're hoping to get out of those guys at minimum. And if they can do something else and contribute, great. Jeff Boss is kind of one of those guys. Jeff Boss is one of those guys they drafted thinking, okay, this guy's going to be a four-phase special teams player. If he turns into a linebacker that can help us, great, fantastic. But their minimum is they're investing in that guy. Is like, hey, at least we know this guy should be a four-phase guy for us. This guy should be a good special teams player for us. Kyle, does it really matter if the extra is a running back or a wide receiver? Not like Remigio does anything offensively. Cheddar Shay's going to see. They've been giving him more looks, I feel like, with the first team than he's had in the past. So they're trying to see what is out there. It doesn't. If you're talking about the catch, I guess is still what it comes down to on game day and having roster spots. So if you're keeping, a 7th wide receiver because this guy is going and again, with Nico, you wouldn't. I guess in the Nico situation, it's not going to change anything. If you're keeping a wide receiver, you're just not keeping Nico to be a returner. If you're going to have 2 running backs be a returner, well, now you got 4 running backs that are active. Now it's not only, or is it as an extra running back, it's 1 less wide receiver. And I get what you're saying is that, hey, there's going to be occasions where you've got 6 active wide receivers. You're going to have 4 running backs active. So you're just going to end up having 5 wide receivers. You're taking Nico out of the equation. Might not always be the case. It might be the case that you've got 5 wide receivers, and if you're going to have on the team, and if you've got 4 active running backs, well, you might only have room for 4 active receivers. It depends on how the math works. But most teams are going to view it, especially because if you're carrying a 4th running back, Nico can do other things too, and he has done other things on special teams. And some running backs can do that too. It's just I haven't talked to anybody that would be in favor of carrying an extra running back or even 2 running backs on game day where the only thing that they're going to do is return kicks. You really need at least one of those guys that, and frankly both those. It's for the same reason that you don't want to double down on the same thing. If you're going to have 2 running backs be your returners, you're really putting a lot of eggs in that one basket, and you're taking that basket away from somewhere else. So that's why you'd like to have it spread around. If you would prefer that, hey, if your best returner is a running back, honestly, you'd prefer your other running back, your other returner, and especially since you're going to have 2 kick returners, you'd prefer the other one to be a wide receiver or a defensive back, something like that. Just putting all those eggs into one basket, it's not. I understand, the math might make sense to you, but it doesn't make sense to GMs and coaches. They just, there's certain things that they would abhor. And if you've got a running back, a 3rd running back that you're not going to use in the game by and large, the last thing that coach wants to do is then have a 4th running back that you're also not going to use. If you're carrying a 6th wide receiver, and it's because you got 5 wide receivers that can play. But there have also been times in the past few years where the Chiefs have only gone with 5 wide receivers on game day, and Nico is one of them, and maybe only still have played like 1 or 2 snaps on offense. Well, you might not be able to do that if you're carrying 4 running backs on game day. Eric, you seem really down on this team. Bad year incoming. Do I seem like I feel like I'm one of the more bullish people. Maybe it's just the people I'm around. I guess, Eric, I try to be a realist, and I can see where if things go wrong this season, I can see where they might go wrong. And maybe there's a little bit of just seeing what went wrong last year and seeing, there are places where the same things could happen from a year ago. So I don't know. I mean, I honestly, I mean, I think this team I have them like 11-5. I mean, I have them making the playoffs. I have them winning the AFC West. I think they're that good. I think that should be the expectation for this team. Um, but I can also see where things are going to go wrong. I think this offense is going to be really, really good. If they don't go 11-5 and they struggle this year, I think it's going to be because they had a lot of turnover on defense, and it took Steve Spagnuolo too long, longer than he wanted, to figure out what his defense is and what its identity is and what they do best. So that's if I come across as down on this team, that's probably the only reason why. Is just I can see the things that can go wrong, and I try to be real. I if you want somebody to put lipstick on that pig, there are others out there who will do it for you. But I will tell you what I see and what I hear, and not try to sugarcoat it in any way. So I mean, I try not to be that guy. I do not ask questions about the wedding, Nikki. I don't ask questions about Taylor. If I have any questions like that, I will ask it to Travis privately. But when we get chances with Travis, I talk football. That's what I care about. Oh, Brian, 2026 team sacks, plus or minus 30 team sacks. And I assume you're talking about the defense. Oh, if it should be well north of 30. I mean, they had more than 30 last year, and they stunk on getting to the quarterback. I mean, I would say a better number might be like 40 and a half. And tell you what, I'm bullish on the front four. I mean, I'm bullish on the pass rush. I'd go over that. So Jimmy's over under 19 team holding penalties from holding and blocking for the screen. So you want holding penalty? I got it. I was thinking there was a special team thing, and I was missing team holding penalties from pulling and blocking for the screen game. 19. Oh, I'm going to go way under on that one. I'm not saying there's not going to be a couple, because it happens, but nah, I'm going to go way under on that one, Jimmy's. Oh yeah, Kroenke. Oh yeah, exactly. Kroenke starts the wrong trends on a lot of things. Let's see. Yeah, I forgot. I need to check in with Nick and see how he's doing. Mizzou 19. Chiefs were dead last in using stunts and twists. Do you think that will change given the influx of DL talent? It probably will. I mean, do we know that there was? I certainly absolutely believe it, and I know there was a lot of last year a lot of push about the fact. I didn't know if there was a documented fact. Mizzou 19. I will take your word for it that it was. I don't remember it for sure. I just remember the talk, so I could be wrong about that. But let's just say that it was documented. Yeah, I do think there's going to be more this year, because I do think that they've got a more talented group, and and the crazy thing is that, I mean, honestly, I mean, I feel like that's the kind of thing you can and should do usually when you're a little undermanned. But this team should be good enough to honestly just beat some teams straight up. Maybe the one thing that I would say that maybe they wouldn't do as much of is because I do think that they've got some guys that they think can win one-on-one matchups on the outside. I mean, that's what R. Mason Thomas is designed for. He's designed to just absolutely blaze around a guy on the outside. I don't think that they necessarily think that they're going to have to scheme their guys to be able to beat people on the offensive lines. I think they feel like that they can get some, with the way that this new group is constituted. I feel like that they think that they can create some one-on-one situations that they can win. And I mean, it is Joe Cullen. So I feel like that's a style of Joe Cullen, is that he does try to set up more one-on-one matchups for his guys and doesn't do as many stunts and twists. Doesn't mean that won't change this year. I mean, I think that this is going to be a talented front four. So maybe that's an element of it, that if they've got more talented guys, maybe they will do some of those things more. Let's see. I was reading about the burn-in mac and cheese from Nikki. Let's see. I am going through pretty quickly looking for questions. So if I do miss one, I apologize, but I'm trying to find them all. Kyle, remember Dempson Davis returning kicks? Those were fun days. Oh, God, Niall Davis was a great little returner. And every once in a while, Dave Tobes thinks he's found the next Niall Davis, and hasn't always worked out that way. Let's see. Chiefs, Warriors, Giants, Penguins. How none of you guys brought up to Clark or Donovan about providing good audio at Chiefs press conferences. It gets frustrating not hearing. I know. Here's a crazy thing. I mean, I feel like it's a lot better than it used to be, and I know how hard 65 Toss Power Trap, their production department does all of these things, and I know how hard they work trying to get that. Now, I know part of the problem at training camp in particular is because these press conferences are held outdoors. And, you can hear obviously the background noise. You got the fans, yelling for autographs. I mean, it's not a Chiefs press conference. It's not a Chiefs press conference if you don't hear somebody yelling Kelsey or Mahomes in the background and everything. You also got tractors, moving the equipment around and all of these things. But I mean, they have a microphone that's dedicated specifically for trying to pick up the questions. I know today got kicked, so that might have been why, at least on Tuesday, that the questions were not as audible. I know some people have told me they feel like the questions on mine are picked up better. And all I do not pick up and connect up to the molt box that all the TV stations and radio stations use. I use my own microphone that I put on the podium. And I don't know that it has any special skills or anything like that at picking up the rest of the room, but it does obviously well for picking up the voices at the podium, and it can hear things in the background. I do not usually change the audio of a question. I will if I'm posting a segment of a press conference, like one question, and if I want the question in there and I want it to be heard, I will edit it to bump up the audio. But usually I don't have the time to edit all the questions and bump up the value and everything. So, but I can attest to this. They try. The 65 Toss Power Trap, they've got somebody, during the season, they've got microphones in the ceiling, and then they also have somebody on the box that adjusts the audio to bump it up and everything to try and catch. They do the best that they can. I don't know I'm not sophisticated enough or a good enough audio person to be able to tell you what's holding it back, but I know it's a lot better than it used to be, and I know that they do try hard. So I give them credit for that. Dog, I can't believe I just missed it. Oh, okay, it was 3 minutes ago, so I don't feel quite as bad missing this now. I am sorry I didn't get to you for 3 minutes though, dog. But truly appreciate a super chat as always from you. Would you trade Fulton to the Ravens with Wiggins hurt? I mean, I'm going back to what I said earlier. I'm not letting go of any corners right now. I mean, especially with I don't know what L'Jarius Sneed's going to be able to play this year. I mean, Delane, I think, is going to play, but I don't know who's going to be hurt next. I don't know what's going. I don't know, but I would not trade Fulton because I think you can still get value out of him. I think you just can't have enough guys that cover. And again, you trade Christian Fulton. Who's your sixth corner and who's an outside guy? I mean, I don't know. It's an undrafted free agent that's probably taken that spot. So I don't know. I would stick with Fulton. And the other part of it too is, I mean, maybe the Ravens would be, maybe they would be in the market because they've got injuries and they would go that direction. But again, I mean, the conventional wisdom from people I talk to is that, Fulton's contract is not something that another team, unless they're desperate, wants to pick up. I mean, like I said, I think if I remember correctly, I think there's $5 million still on that contract for 2026. The Chiefs, I think, have $3 million in dead money on that contract. Another team, once again, I mean, if they think that the Chiefs are going to want to get rid of Christian Fulton, I think they would challenge them to release him and make their own deal for cheaper. I get it's only $5 million, but at this time of year, most teams don't have a ton of cap space. I have not looked at Baltimore's cap numbers, so maybe they got plenty of money, want to do it, but I still wouldn't do it. All right, Jimmy's, I know you're just trying to cause trouble, because I'm pretty sure we've talked about this before. Should Vahe be allowed to continue as a Hall of Fame voter? Hey, he did one thing in the voting that I disagreed with, but he's also done some things that I absolutely and totally do agree with. I've talked a little bit with Vahe. Just I would consider it off the record. I mean, we didn't really discuss it that way, but I'm not going to share. And I would love to talk to him about things more. But here's the thing about Vahe that I do absolutely believe, and that is that one, he absolutely is committed to and believes in the rules and the processes of the Hall of Fame voting, for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. That is not something that I can say clearly about a lot of other voters that do have a vote. And if you're going to start taking people off the Pro Football Hall of Fame voting committee, it should be the people who have zero regard whatsoever for the rules of the committee and the process. And if they're out there violating the cornerstone rules, of the Pro Football Hall of Fame selection committee, they shouldn't be on the committee. That's not Vahe. He's not one of the rule breakers. And two, I know from talking to him that his votes for the Pro Football Hall of Fame are well thought and researched. I may not have agreed with all of them, but at least I know that he struggled over it. He reasoned about it, and he had ethical and I think moral reasons for making the selections that he did. And again, I may have disagreed with them, but I respect him. What I do not respect are the people who don't respect the process, for whom they look at the rules of the Pro Football Hall of Fame committee and think that they don't apply to them. And those are the people that need to be off the committee. I think there's other people who don't cover enough football anymore to be on this committee. I think they need to just reboot the whole thing. And I will tell you this: if I were rebooting the whole thing, one of the first people I would probably call would be Vahe Gregorian, because that guy is principled. He puts thought into things, and I can tell you from experience that there are any number of people that vote for the Pro Football Hall of Fame, who vote for the Associated Press Awards. And I'm not dinging Associated Press writers here, because those men and women are professionals. The Associated Press, for reasons I cannot fathom, select people for their voting process who should not be qualified to vote for those awards. And I wish they didn't select those people, but I can't control their processes either. So there you go. There's my little rant and everything like that. But I've got too much respect for Vahe as a journalist, as a person. Like I said, I may disagree with him on some things, but he's a follower of the rules. He does what he believes is and he has logical reasons for doing them. And again, like, I may not have agreed with all of them, but I at least respected the fact that he worked hard to come to the conclusions that he did, and he worried about it. There are people on the Pro Football Hall of Fame committee who come to ridiculous conclusions and don't care who they hurt, and don't care about following the rules. And those are the people who need to be out there. So that's my 2 cents. All right. We are going to get out of here before the 3-hour mark, before I turn into a pumpkin. I need to go check with Nick. I need to go to camp tomorrow. Chances of me finishing my 53-player roster projection tonight are now out the window. But there's a bunch of videos that you can watch up on Chiefs Digest. There'll be a few more coming up before I probably go to bed tonight. So at least you have that to go with it. Everybody, think we got all the questions in. Appreciate it, Kyle. Thank you very much. I know there's a few of you sticking around, so thank you for coming in and joining the show and everything. And to those of you who watch on the recording later, thank you. I appreciate that as well. Couldn't do it with all of you. Everybody have a great night, and won't be probably talking to you before the game on Saturday, but enjoy the game. Nick and I will be in on Sunday to break it all down on 41 is the mic and share that with you. And Next week, we'll start doing it all again. We'll get together on Tuesday night for the Q&A as always and talk about this roster, where they're going, and what's happening next. Everybody, thank you. Have a great